Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Ladies, gentlemen, friends, foes, lurkers, regulars, GMO people, organic people.
0 inbound. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Boiler Room. We are live, and it is election day 2024. The day has finally come. We get to see what is in store for the nation, for the world. Well, maybe we will. In quite all honesty, we probably will just bang our heads against the wall for a little while here, and then go to sleep confused, stoned and buzzed, and still not know who the president of the United States is going to be. So, I mean, there's always that possibility. That might be greater than just a nice, concise couple hours where the numbers come in and the states say that's done. This one's counted. Here's your governor. Here's your senator. Here's your Congress people, and here's what the people of this state voted for president. But no. They can do that in India, by the way. In India, with like 1.6 billion people, they can hold an election and know the outcome of it by the end of the evening. I mean, wow. But here, we've got, I guess, a complicated 340 million people here in the United States, I suppose, or at least a very complicated system. So it's going to be interesting. And here we are. It's weird. I was talking with our friend Randy J earlier, and I was saying, it kind of feels sort of like it did 8 years ago, but at the same time, very different, because there's the whole legacy of the last 8 years of scars that those on the left and the right are wearing at this point. And of course, the disenfranchised, common sense, middle ground, independents, libertarians, all that stuff. But hey, I'm your host. My call sign is Hesher. I'm Brian McLean. Thanks for joining us here. And we're going to get to some analysis of the day here. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. And I've got a great crew of my friends and colleagues here with me. Let me invite the disembodied voice. You won't see him on the screen tonight, but we do have the Truth Hound with us, Mr. Mark Anderson. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you 5x5, my friend. Welcome to the Boiler Room.
Yeah, great to be here. Lots of weird numbers from station to station to station. The mass media cartel is at it again.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Stand by, sir, while I bring the rest of the people in, and we'll start breaking that down. Very glad to have you with us tonight. That's Mark Anderson of thetruthhound.com. Can also be found on ukcolumn.org on Fridays. Stand by, Mark. Okay, let's say hello to Infidel Pharaoh. We got Infidel joining us now. Infidel, what's up, man? Welcome to the Boiler Room.
Thanks, man. It's finally election day, November the 5th. 2024. We've been waiting for that. So here we go.
Yeah, buddy. Is it me, or does it not? Did it feel like this election campaign cycle started the moment that the midterm elections ended? It was like there was not a space to breathe between the 2022 midterms and right now.
Yeah. It's been really interesting with all the emotions and the convictions and the legal battles with Trump. So we'll see how it ends tonight.
I hope so, man. I hope so. All right, let's welcome Ruckus to the stage. We got a Ruckus among us. Adam Clark, welcome to the Boiler Room. I see you've got your proud sticker there that you would wear on your lapel saying that you voted. I mean, I think you voted.
Actually, that said I farted, yes.
Oh, I misread that.
But here I got my I voted sticker. I gave it to Peanut this year in honor of Peanut. Whatever. Anyways, yes, I can't. Man, I tell you what, it's days like this that it's bad to be in media because we have to do crap like this, and then it's days like this that it's good to be in media because you can drink on the job. Thanks for having me. Let's do this thing.
Yeah, I think it might be required today. All right, let's say hello to Randy J. We got Randy J joining us once again. Randy, welcome to the Boiler Room. How you doing, man?
Thanks for having me again. Yeah, we'll see what happens in the race for class president. Who gets to drive us over the edge of the economic cliff in the next 6 to 9 months? Yeah.
We want open campus for lunch, but not open borders for everyone, I guess, right?
That's right. And no matter what happens, the race for 2028 starts in about 16 hours or so.
Yeah, exactly, man. All right, great to have you here, Randy. Let's welcome once again to the Boiler Room, Mr. Johnny Vedmore. Johnny, what's up? Welcome back.
Yo, thanks for having me on. It's really nice to be back with you. Yeah, and yeah, this one's going to be good. It's been an emotional ride. Of course, I'm kind of like, I'm British anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. It's easy for me to say, but I'm really disenfranchised voter material here. You know, there's no sides which please me. I'm kind of like, you know, everyone's a Zionist scumbag at the moment. A pox on both your houses. I'm the Mercutio of the group, you could possibly say. I'm the one who, yeah. But I have to say, watching this now, it's amazing. You're right about, you know, India really know how to do it. Britain would even already have fairly accurate exit polls. You know, they have people on the exits. You have exit polls over in the States, I would think, but it's not like you advertise them as fact. And I think each station decides on its level it'll accept for its exit polls. So it's going to be really interesting to see. Really interesting if everything flips on its head and it gets really close all of a sudden too.
Right. Wouldn't that be weird? We'll see one thing when we close the show out, and we'll wake up in the morning and it will be completely 180. You know, there's always that possibility, man. Well, it's great to have everybody. That's Infidel Pharaoh, Adam Clark, Randy J, Johnny Vedmore, and Mark Anderson. Let me go to Mark first, because Mark was dropping some statistics and some observations in the green room that I think that Ruckus, Infidel, and I were sort of stumbling over as we first walked in, because we started seeing different numbers in different places with regards to electoral votes. So, Mark, break this down for us. What are you seeing from your perspective there? Oh, I got to unmute him. Okay, go ahead.
Thanks, Brian. For instance, NBC News just seconds ago says the electoral votes are 191 Trump, 81 Kamala Harris. Not long ago, it was 195 Trump and 111 Kamala Harris. So Kamala Harris.
Oh, sorry, that's my fault. Go ahead.
Well, so in terms of the sequence of time, Kamala Harris' number went down from 111 to 181. Now that's from one network to another, but sequentially it was 111 on Fox, and then later in time it was 81 on NBC. And Trump has what another reading was about an hour ago, 45 minutes ago, it was 160 Trump and then 34 electoral votes for Kamala Harris. What it boils down to is each station is showing different numbers for the one number. This is the one figure that should be the same. It's as if they're all using different criteria to judge who wins a given state, or they're incredibly sloppy, or a combination thereof. But it would be almost like a weather report where they say, well, it's 75 in Philadelphia. You turn on another station, it says, no, it's 81 in Philadelphia. Then you turn on a third station, it says, no, it's 69 in Philadelphia at the exact same moment. I'm sorry, but I've been in journalism 40 years. If I did that in any publication I worked for, I'd be fired.
Yeah, and
Okay.
we're talking about like things like weather and headlines. This is like the president of the United States election, like the major. It's. What do you think that their excuse could possibly be for this? Because we were talking about estimating and calling things early, but when you're talking about electoral votes, like that's really not the realm of
Yeah.
speculation, right?
Right. That's the one area that should be free of speculation. That's what I'm saying. Now, if you're talking about projections of the popular vote, if you're saying 11% of the precincts have reported and we can't call it yet on the popular vote, I understand that. I get that. But when it comes to the electoral votes in the Electoral College, the flip side of how we elect presidents through our Constitution, that number should be a fixed number, just like what temperature it is in the damn city at the same time, no matter which station you're reporting. If it's 78 degrees effing Fahrenheit, it should be 78 degrees effing Fahrenheit. Okay? I mean, this media, we've got this mass media cartel. I'm telling you, man, this is the force to reckon with. This is the reason this country is in the dire straits it's in, is this media. And it has to be the mission of our lives to get rid of this media system. Every inch of it has to go.
Yeah, pure toxic waste. I mean,
It's toxic.
It's like, how can we be doing this? I mean, everybody already feels like there's no integrity in the system. I'm almost at the point where I'm wondering if this is just a further like ritual exercise in making sure that every common man and woman loses their faith in the integrity of all systems, because this is one of the systems of all systems. This is the apex predator when it comes to that, like presidential elections in the West.
And forgive me being so livid, but I've been at this craft of journalism a long time. I have to dot my I's and cross my T's. I could never give an editor a report or a series of reports or a group of reports that have self-contradiction in them. And then the other thing is they'll give you every reason to lose faith in the system, and then they'll get on TV and preach and bemoan and lament how people are losing faith in the system. They're the ones causing people to lose faith in the very system that they want everybody to keep their faith in. I mean, they're playing both sides of the emotional line here. Push the system over the cliff and then blame the people for believing in social media, for looking somewhere else other than NBC, ABC, CBS, and trying to paint social media and conspiracy theorists as the problem, when the media is the problem. Sure, there are social media outlets and there are things online that are inaccurate, but those are not the institutions that are running the informational network. Those are not the institutions that are granted broadcast licenses to broadcast their message morning, noon, and night over the airwaves. So, hopefully if Donald Trump gets in what appears to be an election, if you want to call it that, hopefully him and J.D. Vance and RFK Jr. is already talking about how Trump and RFK want to get fluoride out of the water system, which is a very interesting statement. I would love it if they would consider yanking the broadcast licenses of NBC, ABC, and CBS, or at least having a study on why they should be able to continue having a broadcast license with this kind of agenda and this kind of imprecision.
So it's simpler than that. So all what they need is he needs to revoke the executive orders that Obama put in office right before he left. Remember when he allowed the CIA to start actually using, someone remind me,
Smith-Mundt Reformation.
Yeah, exactly. So those medias were not allowed to run disinformation on American people. And he actually put an executive order in place that allowed them to do that. So all what they need is just to repeal that. But sadly, we don't repeal things that's put in place to take more freedom from us. But to be honest, and not to sound mean, but once the boomer generation majority of them are gone. That legacy media is anyway dead. Who's the millennial or even Gen X or Gen Z that's gonna sit and watch any of those like behemoths like dinosaur media?
Good
None.
point. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, and Johnny, I mean, like, how does that make you feel? I know how it makes me feel. I'm guessing it's probably similar, but to see the mass media lying and propagandizing and catering their numbers to their various audiences that are going to keep eyeballs on the screen today is actually kind of small compared to everything that we've seen when you put it all on the scale. But then no one goes after them. They come after us. They come after independent journalists and broadcasters
Yeah,
and say that
but the I mean the answer was in there when he was saying that the weathercast on one channel will give you a 72 in Pennsylvania or Philadelphia and etc. Well, imagine, I'm sure most of the listeners would wanted to hear or wanted to get a 69 in Pennsylvania, so they'll tune into the channel that's going to tell them the information that they want to hear, the positive information, the thing that makes them feel good. Whatever it is, even if it's just something for a chuckle here and there, it doesn't make a difference. They entertain us enough. They bring in most of those people, they put them in this little echo chamber, and people choose their little echo chamber. Over here, when I talk about like news channels, we got like Sky News, we got BBC, we got Channel 4, and we got GB News. And most of the people who have woken up, not the woke, but the people who have woken up, the people who are awake, the people who are starting to like stir mostly, watching GB News, they choose their brand, but all of them are mainstream media. And once you work out that all of them are mainstream media, then you leave those as well and you go to the next one. You end up in a neo-mainstream media, and then you realize those are basically the equivalent to mainstream media, and they use the same tricks and same logical fallacies to keep you chained down, so they move you back again and they keep going back constantly. So it depends how close we get, how small we get, how local we get, because at the end of the day, what have you got? You've got a load of people who are choosing to listen to what they want to hear.
Yeah, exactly, man. I'm messing with our view here so we can kind of keep an eye on the stats, but that's something we've been rolling around a lot, especially as we get it becomes more and more obvious how many algorithms and quote unquote AIs are nudging the feedback loops of the internet now. Like, those are getting better and better, which means, if you're, all of us could be seeing a completely different version of social media, and even on a nuanced level, just across various apps and whatnot. But then there's like that mass media that's pumping into, I don't know, rest homes, hotels, and airports right now, pretty much to stay alive. And you can really see the like distinct sets of narratives that they run over there. Yeah. Go ahead. All right, Randy, what are you making so far? What's on your radar tonight?
Well, excuse me. I was as you guys were talking, I'm just looking specifically at the AP one, and I've noticed this demographic thing for a while, where you can click on any state, blue, red, battleground, and
The gas
I mean,
in Michigan.
you look at this stuff, and it's like everywhere there's a city, it's blue. For the most part, like a city of any significant size. I just clicked on Texas, right? Texas is usually red, but early anyways. Austin, blue. San Antonio, blue. Houston, blue. Dallas, blue. Fort Worth, red, but they're kind of the same metro area. But I mean, that's Texas. And you click on something like New York that's considered blue. Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo, blue. The rest is a mix, maybe slightly more red. So just as some sort of social engineering sort of way. It's always interesting to me that, back to the early days of gerrymandering districts and ways to win elections and get votes. There's always this engineering aspect that sort of strikes me. The way people live and how they live in cities, who goes to cities, who leaves cities, who can leave cities, who's forced to leave in a city. And then you start looking at the fact that the cities are just, they tend to go blue like hardcore. And that's when more services and things are handed out. You could even say, in a very roundabout way, elections are bought by giving things. So I'm just kind of contemplating that while I'm sort of wrapping my brain around the events of tonight specifically.
Yeah, well, like bought maybe now more than ever, man, with all these NGOs. I mean, we've been tracking the NGOs that are funding, the various NGOs that are funding the various cartel associated human and drug trafficking caravans that come into the United States and that are then managed by the current administration and Border Patrol, much to their chagrin, but somehow they keep showing up at work and doing it anyways. But we're seeing this flood of people, they're saying maybe 20 million people. I think 20 plus million people is probably the best guesstimate when you include gotaways with what is already, with what was actually counted administratively coming into the country illegally in the last, 4 years here. So, I mean, what do you think about that factor? Like that actually, and there's this weird, also, I want to get everybody's opinion on this. But also there was a Supreme Court decision basically saying that if I understood it properly, I only read it briefly, but it's saying that, you need to have an ID. You basically need to be a citizen to vote. Yet there's states that have different laws that say it's illegal to ask for an ID because of, racism or whatever. So it's like, how does that work out? It's kind of like, what? You've got a completely different, contradicting set of rules here. So I'll go to you first, Randy, so you can finish up. But what is the effect of that 20 plus million people here? And what do you think about that factor for this year's election?
It's scary, and I think that factors in more and more as each election goes by. And I think we're all a little worried about a point of no return, where really these politicians, they do have a lot of pull. They do have a lot of power and sway, even though they're empty suits, hollow puppets, and everything else like that. But that's the thing; they're like children with lightsabers. They don't realize, or maybe they do. I don't know. It's kind of psychotic that they're destroying. They're destroying the United States by these different actions. It may be there's Republican in name only. There's probably Democrat in name only. Rhino, Dino. There might be Sino with a C, citizen in name only, because it's effectively usurped. And I think that's just a sobering thing that more people, especially the longer you lived, old enough to remember, could look in the rearview mirror and go, these two things aren't alike anymore. So, and I think this is just another one that they will do anything, unfortunately, even destroying the thing that they're trying to gain control of, to gain control of it. And it's pretty psychotic.
Yeah. Infidel, what do you think, man? What do you think the effect for this election is of this spare 20 plus million people we have here?
So actually, the number I heard, given what we already have, it's at 40 million. So I don't think I think the 20 is actually undercounted.
There I go.
Being generous. If who came, yeah. So I think we're going to be in that 30, 40 million range. But again, it's that we I mentioned this before, right? It's more. This is more of that demographic replacement plan that they've been carrying for a while, and they're just going to continue doing it. We saw how that played out in Europe, and what happened there. Um, I think actually in Europe the case is even worse because I would argue that the European societies are more homogeneous than the US societies. So when you start disrupting the dynamics of it using people coming out from different culture, it actually and worse. I do believe Europe is going to swing the other way, but just wait for that. That's going to happen eventually because it has to. But right now, I mean, we'll see based on this election. I'm looking forward to see what Trump action will be and how he can dry out that faucet that they have been using to feed um, that importing those illegals in. Did you see that article I posted? It's not even an article. It was a link to a report that came out that actually U.S. government paid NGOs to. Here, let me pull this up. Give me a second.
Yeah, I think I did catch that one, man.
Yeah.
The NGO activity is so critical to everything that's going on, especially as it relates to the weapons of mass migration, but also campaign funding. I mean, you name it, they're everywhere. Their fingers are in everything.
Yeah, let's see. Here you go. I found it. Yeah, at least $81.7 million spent by the Open Borders United Nations to allow illegal aliens to bypass the southwest border and fly directly into the United States. Says there were actually migration centers set up throughout Central and South America, staffed by UN bureaucrats, and that was funded by US freaking government money.
Yep.
Insane.
And Israel, man.
Yeah.
We talked to Michael Yon a lot when we were working at TNT, and he was down there in Panama. Like he could see the offices of these NGOs from where he was sitting in his room. And it's absolutely amazing, dude, like how much money goes into it. And that's like a small amount of the actual amount that goes in right there, because there's multiple of these things, and they get, you know, multiple government contracts, and it's crazy how many people they're moving and paying to move.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And then yeah, I mean, you mentioned Israel there, so I think I know what you're alluding to, and who's benefiting from disrupting that homogeneity of this Western civilization and culture. And so I think everybody on this call knows. So we don't need to get into that.
Yep. Yeah, no kidding, man. Okay, well, thanks for that. Let's go. Let me go to Johnny and then Mark and then Ruckus. Johnny, Infidel Pharaoh kind of given his thoughts on how weapons of mass migration are going to work out here in the United States, and he referenced Europe. You're sort of a lot closer to that than we are. What's your take on that? How do you think that affects us here in particular with this this voting, this round of presidential election, and you know, all that going on?
It's insane. We're living through crazy times. We're living through moments where, you know, they've planned out for over at least 25 years how they were going to do this, just the system behind it. So they've been planning this for a lot longer than that. You don't get to that stage without there being some sort of plan. And like when I was reporting on Eric Weinstein and his paper he wrote for the UN in 2000 to 2002 called Migration for the Benefit of All for the UN. He spent 2 years writing this paper, and he was like what was in there was, oh, we know the effects. People are going to come in. The native workers are going to be the ones who lose out. The people who live within the countries that they come in from are going to be the ones that lose out. And the more you bring in, the more people you bring in, because what their plan is and what is being shown in reality. I was talking to Jana London today for a podcast that comes out on Thursday, and she was saying, you know, in Ireland, they allow them to come over, they destroy their passports on the plane. They get on the plane with a passport, they destroy their passports on the plane, and then they're given everything. You know, they're given a place to live, they're given a phone, some money, more money than you'd get on the dole or whatever you call it, wherever you are, like the benefits. This is happening all over the Western world, not just America, but in Europe too. It is completely mapped out. They know what's happening. They're reducing our living conditions so that they can make this block that. And this is really important. Like, the migration is going to be used by the one side, because it's mainly going to be the Democrats who have kept control of this in some way, and it's going to be used to gerrymander places. They're going to lobby to put up housing here and housing there so they can take districts in future elections. So this is over here in Britain. It's like my neighborhood's changed completely. It's like 200,000 migrants a year were coming in, and or over a 2-year period were coming in. Then suddenly it's 400,000. So or it all goes up by 100%. It's not even, you know, everybody around is looking around in shock. And of course there's something happening. Of course it's actually happening. It's being done all around the world. And in Europe, if you the reason why it would be different than America is really just a language. You know, the Czechs stay in Czechoslovakia where they speak Czech, and the Slovakians stay in Slovakia where they speak Slovakian, and so on and so forth. All around Europe, it tends to be people go back to their homelands, so they keep in the same areas, and most people marry within their own cultures. So I mean, it's really hard to do that. So when they've done it just balls out. It's just migrants after migrant being shipped in. It is a replacement. I call it. I don't call it great replacement or anything. I call it the great synthesis. I think what they're doing is trying to, you know, that's always on their mind, blending and morphing. You know, when people say, "Oh, they'll replace us," well, they're not replacing us, are they? They're just eventually we're all going to intermarry and we're all going to be the same color, the same creed. You know, it's a lot like you get down when you go into South America, and everybody's basically, it feels like, you know, the countries are very homogenous in their groups and their DNA. I think this is, you know, they manipulate these things in more way than just genetically. They're manipulating it for elections. They're manipulating it for money, so they can get richer, and it's always it's making one class. You know, it's taking away the class system and it's replacing it with one class, and we all know where that leads.
Yeah. It's yeah. Go ahead,
Can I
Infidel.
respond to one point?
Sure.
The reason why I was talking about replacement, Johnny, is they are trying to replace the people in you. I'm talking about specifically about US, the people that still carry within them the founding principles of this nation, right? And I think they want to get rid of the Constitution. They want to like abolish all the ties to those founding principles of this nation, so that they can create whatever version they want to create from US.
They tend to destroy culture. That's what they tend to do.
Right.
They tend to, and that's what's happening all around us. And it does lose our sense of self. And it's the same for us over here. You know, once upon a time, I send people, and anybody can type this in at home very quickly, you know, the genetic map of the UK. Type it in and look at the pictures that come up, and it'll show you the genetic map of the UK. It was done, they did genetic testing of grandparents of people all around Britain, and what you've got is this fantastic, diverse, tribal, still in the same places they settled in thousands of years ago, the Cornish, the Devonian, the Marshall Lords, the people of Pembroke, North Wales, the Humbers, the Lancs, the people of the Elmet. You know, they all settled in their places ages ago, and they haven't moved out for thousands of years because people like to be around their own, and that's what's really being broken up. We can't see that like visually, really, a ground view, but if we go to a bird's eye view and see what is being destroyed, you realize it's something that's very special that's settled over thousands of years.
Right. And when you can break down all those foundations, all the easier to, Ruckus was saying in the back chat there, replace everybody by machines. Like, you're not going to get a society that is going to accept a dystopia technocracy, wrapped in a veneer of equality and justice, while genocides are happening with your tax dollars in other parts of the world. You're just not going to have that. But if you have no cohesion, of spirituality and of family and faith in institutions and a tradition, you know what I mean? Like, you're all the more prey to that predator of that global technocracy. Let me go to Mark Anderson real quick here. Mark, I'm sorry I've had you on mute. You had some background noise. I'm unmuting you now. Any thoughts?
Well, I couldn't listen to everyone all the time when I wasn't talking. I've been busy making some slides off the internet, because I've also been using my phone to take pictures of a large, clear television screen and just trying to keep the numbers handy. But right now, I went through ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, and none of their numbers match for the Electoral College. Just a quick example: ABC moments ago was 195 electoral votes Trump, 91 Harris, and just a few minutes later, a couple minutes later, 205 Trump, 117 Harris, and that's the 205 Trump, 117 Harris is Fox, 195 Trump, 91 Harris is ABC. NBC is 201 Trump, 91 Harris, so she has 91 again. CBS is 178 Trump, 91 Harris. So these numbers just have this odd variability to them. That's 4 different slides that I'm going to use on UK Column this coming Friday. So I'll be comparing that to a whole plethora of the ones I shot with my phone, and to try and show at least at the very least, the sloppiness of the media, although I think it's more than incompetence and sloppiness. But this is something that most people don't think of doing, but screenshotting and watching for anomalies is one of the best things the average person can do.
There you go. I mean, Deb in one of the chats says it's alchemy. It does feel like alchemy. It feels like we're bearing witness to some sort of strange low IQ alchemical wizardry here, my friends.
Yeah, if I may add something on that, I think that what an election has become, and if you listen to a lot of the pundits that are always shouting down people that are saying there's voter fraud, and that's where the voter votes without an ID, votes in more than one precinct, or election fraud, which is different. That's when the electronic voting machines might flip a vote, things like that. When social media is the avenue by which people are making these assertions, the pundits and the people that have this unending faith in the system basically are saying, and they have said it in so many words, that it's an article of faith. You have to have faith in this civic exercise called an election. Well, they're treating it almost like a sacrament of a civic religion. And it's an article of faith. If you're asking a lot of questions, you're losing the faith. You're an infidel. You're not fit for society. And so that's kind of what it's being passed off as. The vote count is secret. The vote casting is public. And then they made the point in Georgia where they're on 60 Minutes on Sunday, they were running a hit piece against anybody that questions elections. And they were painting the chief election official, Gabriel Sterling, as a saint who cannot tell a lie. And he said, well, we have 10,000 different precincts in a very decentralized election, electing our national officials. Now, that's true. But here's the part they don't tell you. Those 10,000 different precincts in the decentralized election are using one of 3 electronic voting machines. And so those 3 companies, ES&S, Hart, and Dominion, have a lock on 10,000 jurisdictions. So all you'd have to have is software engineered to flip the vote, and it won't matter if they're centralized elections or decentralized elections, because they're picking one of three companies with very few exceptions. See, so this is the part they don't tell you. And so a private vote counting syndicate with their machines is counting the vote in secret.
And from unknown places, Mark, that's the other thing that grinds my gears about this. As a cybersecurity professional, I understand what it means to have a computer that is sufficiently hardened to external threats. I've certified hundreds of machines to be exactly that. And whenever I look at the cybersecurity stance of these machines, it's atrocious. It's like it's a done deal for me, as someone that understands threat vectors inside of computer systems. I'm sorry. A lot of open category ones in there. And one of those companies you mentioned, I believe it's Dominion. Category 1 refers to a vulnerability, a top level vulnerability. Like, you're a moron if you haven't updated your computer security settings. Like, your grandma on AOL on her desktop probably has better security than some of these Dominion machines. And I believe it was Dominion that had employees in Slovenia, I can't remember, one of the Slavic countries, working there. And lo and behold, I guess it's just a coincidence, but they don't do security. They don't do background checks on people that work there, because they just don't. They consider that illegal in that country, which maybe is kind of cool. Privacy, yay, but not working out so good for us, because the people like that have access to machines. We have no idea who they are, what their backgrounds are. That is in and of itself right there. And the fact that remote access is turned on, remote internet access is turned on these machines. I'm sorry. The fact that the auditing logs are deleted and trashed and not made public. I'm sorry. Open category ones. No, the machines themselves are in many cases the biggest vulnerability that we have, but they're just one of dozens, I'd say.
Now, let me add one quick thing. You just made some very helpful points. In Georgia, where the all-important group Voters Organized for Trusted Election Results in Georgia, voterga.org, has done yeoman's work exposing this stuff. The Georgia authorities are continuing to use the Dominion machines they used in 2020. The state Supreme Court of Georgia, a federal district court, and the legislature of Georgia all told Georgia election officials they cannot use the Dominion machines anymore, and they're using them, and they're getting away with it.
Unreal, dude. That is, I think a number of us have spoken with Garland Favorito. You introduced me to him, and I've had so many great interviews with him about Georgia, in particular Fulton County and the other big county. And it's just, it's just, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing how much work he and his colleagues have done in the last 4 years. It took them almost 4 years to go through a series of legal battles, very difficult ones, and have a lot of evidence turned away and a lot of evidence put in. We got a lot more evidence out of Georgia than we did Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania had massive shenanigans going on in it. But in Georgia, it was really bad too. And they even fixed some of the, they put legislation in place that would fill some of those vulnerabilities. But this shit is still going on, Mark. It's bananas.
Yeah, and CBS News, again, on 60 Minutes this past Sunday, is painting that chief official, Gabriel Sterling, who works right under Brad Raffensperger. This is where, in that state, and Garland Favorito doesn't mind me saying, he told me just last night, he thinks this literally gets to the CIA level, that they have kept a lid on the gross shenanigans in the state of Georgia. And I said, Garland, how can, even with the media's complicity, how can Raffensperger and Sterling keep a lid on this kind of bucking of the law, literally flouting the law, telling the legislator to pound sand. We're going to use these Dominion machines whether you want us to or not. Telling the courts to pound sand, and he just literally threw his hands up in the air and said he thinks it could literally be at the spook level that Georgia is basically under some sort of illicit control. and I'm not making this up.
Yeah.
Because I just don't understand how Raffensperger keeps a lid on this. I mean, they've got 350,000 missing ballot images. They've got another 175 missing ballot images over here. 2 million this, 350,000 that. You've heard it from Garland yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a computer tech too.
Yep.
Can I interject for a second?
Yeah, jump
I'm
in.
looking at the decision headquarters right now. They just called Georgia for Trump. So if you pull the screen, Hasher, or I can actually, if you want, I can steal your screen. Trump is 242 right now, according to their counting, and Harris is 108. With Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, New Mexico leaning toward Trump as of this moment. This is from the decision headquarters. And
who's in charge of that, infidel? The decision. What the fuck does that mean?
Well, it's actually, I would say that they have been more accurate than any of the other media.
Who is it though? No, that's
it's
a media
bunch of
outlet.
It is, but it's a bunch of like I don't know who owns it actually. If you're asking me that specific question,
I am asking because there's no such thing as one official like outlet that.
I'm not saying official. I'm not saying official. I did not say. Did I say
So
the word
Associated Press? I'm just curious.
No, this is not Associated Press. It's a different one.
Well, then what the fuck is this?
It's another outlet, but it's basically run by a bunch of statisticians. And in the previous elections, I would say they were more accurate. Looking at the final results, but I think they own the Hill as well and some of the other.
Well, I'm just shocked because usually it's like it comes from like say like the AP, like the Associated Press, and then all the mainstream media goes with that, right? You know what I mean? And it's like every single one of them, the CBS, NBC, ABC, which should all be definitely on the same page, are not. They're all different. This is crazy. It makes no sense to me.
Go ahead, Mark.
Go ahead, Mark.
Just one quick point. Well, what Ruckus said there is very important. The National Election Pool, a conglomerate or a association of media that is responsible for receiving and reporting results. He's right. Associated Press has been the center of that nexus, sort of the controlling arm of it, a long time. And I can remember very recently that all the different stations would typically cite AP much of the time and be more or less on the same page. And now I'm not seeing that. And that's very strange. There's definitely been a shift in the way things are being done. I just can't exactly determine what it is yet, but I know what it isn't.
Mark, speaking to that, did you notice what happened with the Washington Post? Was it the Washington? Yeah, Jeff Bezos's rag? Where like, there was another one too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I just read an article
we're all
about
on
it.
the same page here. Yeah.
The LA Times also stopped doing presidential endorsements, and then Bezos bore his soul. I mean, I actually believe what Bezos is saying, unless I hear otherwise. It sounds like he's not being disingenuous. It sounds like he's not using some weird pretense. It sounds like he's willing to say, look, we, the media, are losing the narrative, and it's our own fault. I mean, unless he's being really, really deceptive here, I'm going to take him at his word at this point.
Well, this is what I call the changing of the guard, but I don't want to give away too much without finishing my next episode of my own show. But clearly, yes, we all understand the mainstream media sucks fucking balls, and the thing is that the mainstream media is not fucking stupid, and they know it, which is why I believe that they have implanted people like the military-industrial complex's golden child, Elon Musk, to take over X and prepare for the next generation of the controlled narrative. Anyways, go ahead, everybody. Did I give away too much too soon?
No, I mean, I don't know if I fully agree with you in there, but I think Hasher just listed the list of some news outlets that actually get their info from.
Yeah,
the
so I just want to
network.
throw that out there. I don't exactly know who owns this thing, but they say that this DDHQ has powered election coverage on, just as a partial list,
Powered.
BuzzFeed, dreaded Atlantic, dreaded Economist, dreaded National Review, Vox, Reuters, HuffPo, Conservative Review, Axios, and 272 Win. So they're, that's where they're piping their information to, at least. So
But I can I just come in here? I just want
sure.
to say, like, this is part of the agenda. You see, Bezos is saying that. He's saying, oh, look, it's time that we change our ways. But they've already planned to change the ways. They've already mapped it through. They know exactly what happens. People get annoyed with censorship. It gets too hard to censor as we get more into the realm of AI, where AI can scupper their plans for us and just tell us what's been going on behind the scenes, or other things get released and more people lose trust. And trust is a massive thing. And they know they're going to switch the narrative. It's no longer going to be about controlling the narrative. It's going to be about flooding the zone. It's going to be about putting as much information, and all of a sudden, all of the prevailing order on the ground, the people who were like suspicious of us during COVID, etc., will all discover that their world isn't exactly as safe and secure as they want. And that's what fifth generation warfare is. So this is what it just looks like. It just looks like they're saying, oh, now we're going to do the big switcheroo. You know, we spent ages like locking people down mentally, even, stopping their conversations, stopping certain conversations so they couldn't get onto a certain like level, a track that could defeat our plans in that sense as well. And all of these people, I mean, if you look what Musk has done with X, he's opened it up, said freedom of speech, and everybody says, oh, praise Musk. But that was always the plan. Fifth generation warfare is you don't know what's real or not. That means you need loads of stuff hitting you. Go on,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, that's absolutely the way I see it too. It's like, keep saying it, and I'll keep saying it. The Overton window got not just nudged, but like smashed, like Mario smashed over several notches when Elon took over X, or Twitter 1.0, called it X, and released the Twitter files. That was like their moment. That was their moment to launder the sins all the way up until that point, and then open up a whole new battleground and a honeypot. And it is there, and it's working very, very well.
Yes, sure. Like if you were like looking at you, like you're like, huh, wow, that's really interesting what this Twitter thing did there. I think I'd like to buy that.
Yeah.
Please. Like what the fuck do you think you're going to use that for? All right, sorry. Anyways, I think I'm probably getting too far ahead
Yeah,
of
one of
my
the
own
greatest
self here.
intelligence tools of people
Right.
just pouring their public information into since Facebook.
As I was saying on my last episode of the Daily Ruckus, like there's evidence that suggests that clearly it's the cat's out of the bag. Twitter, social media, it's a fucking weapon. And like people like Elon Musk realize this, and Elon Musk is definitely in the business of weaponry because he's heavily involved with the military-industrial complex. So Twitter is no fucking different. And he had his eye on it, and he was like, "Oh, hey, look at how they censored everybody and controlled and did X, Y, Z during the pandemic." Like, if you were, look, people, if you out there were looking at like a deadly weapon, right, like a nuclear bomb or whatever it is, would you be like, I think I'd like to buy that, please? That's what Elon Musk did with Twitter. And now we're all like, we're running towards this nuclear weapon with open arms, like, oh, this is the greatest shit since sliced bread. It's crazy to me. But anyways, I'm sorry.
Yep. Well, Randy, what do you think, Randy? Where are you? You have your eye on the television or a screen in the background there? What, anything breaking or any changes in the numbers you're seeing here? Any predictions you want to throw out there?
No, excuse me, but I do have an observation from the last couple of elections. To me, this one, I mean, they're all different. They all have their big takeaway or whatever, with lasting implications. But anyways, I think of Trump, Hillary, and I even in the People's Republic of California, just going about my business, I get sort of like the same sort of feeling of 2016 in that way. But what's different is the optics look a lot like 2020 to me, at least at this stage, because uh, there's a lot of key states that are within like 100,000 or closer, with enough time and votes to be counted that there's plausible deniability to let it play out. Wink, wink, nod, nod, or whatever. And it's just, I don't know. The whole thing's sort of strange. The last one, what really struck me, I I can remember watching elections since a kid. Um, Even if I didn't know what was going on, and well, I guess not much has changed. Nobody knows, but like Mark Anderson was saying, it's this very secretive, amorphous, ever-changing process or whatever. But every election I could remember observing, they all seem like they ended around 10 Pacific. I think the Gore one, Gore Bush one, kind of, that turned into the hanging Chad down to something where Jeb had to come in and do the tiebreaker. And then the last one were just these weird nail biters.
The COVIDian election.
Yeah, yeah. And this one too, it's just sort of, I mean, early it looks Trump, but I mean, it looked like this. It looked like this last time. So I guess that's why we're here, to just see how they cook the game this time, or what happens this time.
Yeah, well, some of these
I
things
mean,
overnight last time, right? Like we went to bed with like broken pipes and then woke up and all of a sudden there's 100,000 new votes sitting there.
yeah, and it got totally like memory hold, erased. Like again, like what Mark was saying, if you even like referred to it or mentioned it, or do you deny the the voting public's decision? Are you a election denier, or whatever term they were throwing around? I don't know. It might come back again. I
Yeah.
mean, as I'm watching this, when I'm watching the AP one, you'll just watch like a certain state and bounce around. It'll go from red to blue because it's like that close in a few of them, where I guess a different county comes in and it's more one way than the other. That's the thing about, I keep going back to it, the demographics, different areas of different states, be the state red or blue. You go to a certain county or city or area, and that, that whole area might be more one way than the other, and then boom, the whole thing just flips, like as you're watching it, like little micro regions within these different states could change things, like as they count,
Right.
supposedly we believe.
And those are the ones you're referring to are the ones that uh take extra time and do weird stuff under, blacked out windows, cover of darkness. All the weird stuff seems to happen in places like that, man. All the anomalies
Yeah.
that we see.
Since we've been talking, I think I've seen Virginia on AP go red twice and blue twice, and it's within like about 30K right now, with 72% reporting. And as we know, that's a big one. So you always got to wonder if they let it stay close enough for plausible deniability, and then just push the magic 10K button at the end or something like that. I don't know.
Well, they got to wait till the end to figure out how many votes short they are so that they can do that voodoo calculus. And we wake up the next day. It's like, oh, yeah, we got that plus 10,000. Boom, no problem. Yeah, some of them are from dead people. Yeah, some of them are from people that don't even live in this country. Some of them got
That's
sent
fake
to-
news, Hesher. That's disinformation. How dare you?
I'm going to continue. Some were sent to prisons and then just sent to other places from there. It's crazy how many of these they're sending out. It's absolutely bananas.
Yeah, well, when I went today earlier and talk about election fraud, they allowed me to take 2 I voted stickers instead of 1. But anyways,
Cheat.
it,
Boo.
I I went in there and I literally showed. I think this is a California thing, maybe some other things. 0 ID, absolutely nothing. And
So
and
let's
just walked in, and all they asked me was my address. I didn't verbally say a word, and I just held up my what do you call it, the thing that they mail to you with your name and address on it. I just held that up, and then they just looked at it, typed it in for me, and that was it. I literally didn't say a word to the person. They said, what I walked in, and they said, what's your name, and then what's your address, and I held the little ballot mail-in, not the mail-in thing, but like the one that they send to you that you could do like a fake, a practice run or mark what you want to mark, and then when you go on, it's already, your answers in front of you or whatever. So yeah, that was as simple as that. And then on the way out, grabbed my
Absentee
2
ballot?
stickers and left.
Your two.
No, but no, over here they mail you like something that it's almost like an info thing. Half of it's in Spanish, half of it's in English, and then on the back page there's about 30 different languages. Call this number and press these buttons if you recognize the letters here or something like that. I guess I don't know
Well,
what it
that
says.
doesn't sound
It says something like
suspicious at
that.
all.
Well, I imagine that's what it says because I could kind of read the Spanish one, and I'm like, okay, it's like telling you, call this, press that, or whatever. But yeah, I literally I didn't verbally say my name or nothing. I just walked in and held the. I could have stole it out of my own mailbox or someone else's and just walked up there and held it up, and then again they typed in the information. This little um like a little receipt came out, like it's thing came out. I gave that to some gal. She put that in a machine, and then it spat out like from a printer
This
a
sounds like a
ballot.
porn. This sounds like a porn. Keep
yeah,
going. Keep
the way
going.
of describing
Yeah.
it, Randy,
So
interesting.
yeah, so wire to wire, I hand the thing that I got in the mail. That's just like a fake informational thing that it's like a sample ballot inside. Hand that to them. They type this thing up. A receipt comes out. I take it to this other gal. She scans it with like a little like grocery store register sort of scan gun, and then out comes the ballot. I go to the little thing with a folder so it's secret, and I'm holding the folder, and everybody's all bunched in together. I'm making my in pen, marking it out. Go with the folder, and then some guy says, feed it in there face up, and it looks like a printer, but like instead of printing out, it takes it in like you're feeding it, and then it goes into this black. It looks like like if you seen concerts, those big old boxes that roadies push around or whatever, but like a little bit smaller, and it drops inside of that.
That's a rude way
And
to
then
talk about your wife.
and then you grab your sticker or stickers, and away you go. It went really fast, and as I'm driving back home, I'm like, huh. I'm just like going, okay, like again, like I keep going back to it, like Mark Anderson's. I'm just pushing the I believe button every step of the way.
How is
I
it
believe.
like so in Tennessee? When I went and voted, basically they take my driver license, right, and they printed the ballot for me based on the information that they had in their system of which precinct I am in, and they give me that to me. So they had to check my ID first. How is it in Texas? Did any of you guys in Texas vote?
No.
Mark,
You're a funny dude, bro.
how about Mark? Mark.
Mark, are you with us? He sounds like he's at an auction. He's got that election cranked up.
Mark's at a rally or some shit.
Mark,
That's a mosque. That's a mosque.
you're at a
for
MAGA
sure.
rally. Where are you? Okay.
Hello, Akbar.
We'll check
Mark
back
voted
in on Mark.
twice.
Oh boy, it's a good thing I have a mute on his channel. Or we would
So,
not
so here is the interesting thing. So, right, so I took my I got my citizenship a couple of years ago. So I actually got a letter, official letter from the state of Tennessee, telling me, because I did my voter registration form, and they were like, well, we noticed that your initial driver license, you did not have citizenship. Are you sure you're a citizen? You have a chance right now to unregister yourself if there is an issue. So, so they actually check the record if there is a record in the past that you're not a citizen. I don't know. I think actually most states should do this, and I think that was part of that. Remember the lawsuit about the illegals or non-citizen voting?
Yeah.
I think they have to do this, but there is a time window where they have to do it. I think it's about 6, maybe 2 months before the election.
Guys, I'm confused. Maybe some of you guys who've been doing this longer than Ruckus has can explain this to me. I'm watching NBC on the side here, and it says road to 270. See, I understand math and numbers. Okay, that's where Ruckus is at this stage. It says road to 270. So the goal is 270 points, right? And I'm seeing here, this is NBC. It says Trump has 210. And it says Kamala Harris has 91. I'm no betting man, but I'm guessing that Trump just fucking kicked everybody's ass.
Well, dude, if everything was above board, that would definitely be the case. The big ones are going to be like, when does Florida, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Nevada, and Arizona all come in?
So
There's
Florida
gonna
is
be
called.
West
So
Coast.
So Florida is called out actually. So Florida is Trump right now.
All right.
So where it's still out. So some stations or some places called North Carolina and Georgia for him. I think that's where his decision headquarters is 242.
Bullshit.
What do you mean? I think
What
right
I
now
mean
in
is like with Florida and Texas on top of that current number, if that number right there is accurate, he's got it in the bag. Dude.
No. That number contained Florida and Texas. That's counted in that number.
That
He's
counts?
got it in the
Oh,
bag,
okay.
but the
All
West,
right,
the
all
West
right.
Coast
That's
is nearly all
NBC.
going to be blue.
Okay.
The West Coast is
Yeah,
going to
let me-
nearly all be blue.
yeah,
and
All
they're
let
gonna
me-
right.
come
Well,
in last.
California's worth like 30 or something, right? Too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hashar,
well, anyways, I don't know. I'm just saying that, like, already you can basically just kind of tell that Trump has kind of whooped some ass here, you know.
Can I steal the screen for a second, Asher?
Yeah, go for it, man. How do you do it?
I'm about to. All right, so let's go to the AP, which is, I think, what are you guys saying? Oh, yeah, let's use the AP. So you can see here, so they called Florida already.
Can you control plus that so it's a little bigger?
Yeah, I can.
There you go. Thanks. Oh, change the view. There you go.
All right, so you can see they called Florida. So everything that is solid red or solid blue, that is called out. So Florida and Texas is there. So you can see here they're still holding in North Carolina. They are at 86%, and he's at 50.8. So it's about 130,000 votes between them, with 86% counted in. Georgia, he is about the same, about 145,000 votes between them, with 90% in. So it's pretty close, right? If you see the numbers from last time, I think where they finished him and Biden was around that 2.4 million. And then you see up there, that's where the shenanigans will happen.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's so Pennsylvania right here. Actually, as of
All the
now,
big ones, basically.
66%. He's leading with about 110 votes, 10,000 votes, right? That's where we ended in 2020 before we went to bed. Right?
Yeah.
He's leading in Michigan. So Michigan is way behind. So you're only 26, which I have no freaking clue why. Because Michigans, they are still using Dominion. So actually, Georgia, I think they cleaned up some of their axes and using the machines. Florida completely using paper ballot. So they finished counting in 2 hours. Wisconsin, it's leaning toward him. It's a 40,000 votes right now. You can see with 59%, and then Minnesota as well. They are 9%, so there is still quite a bit out there. And then the other shenanigans that's going to happen is in Arizona with Maricopa County, especially, and that's when they are saying there is 200,000 like early voting that haven't even counted yet. You can see, so Arizona is at 50% right now, and he's leading with 3,000. So those are
Yeah.
still have the chance to sway toward her, right?
That's why I said earlier it feels like 2016, but it looks like 2020, at least as of right now.
Yeah, I actually agree with you, Randy. It feels this is where we were in 2016, and then numbers start coming in, and we called it a night, right? But in 2020, they start.
Something's happened
Only with
over
more.
with Ruckus. I think
Whoa,
Ruckus
whoa,
just won the lottery.
Hey, maybe Bitcoin just hit all-time high, so that's an indicator right there, whatever that means.
Oh,
But yeah,
hey.
that just happened. It just hit 1 hour ago, $75,011.06 US dollars. It's official.
How much jump is that?
Happening. So congratulations to all the crypto people.
How much jump is that? What was it
What's
before?
that?
What was it before?
All I know is that's like easily like 2 to 3 times as much as the last time I bought some. So hey, whatever.
Oh shit!
It's been bouncing around 65 to, I think it hit the very low 70s a couple of times.
Yeah, the
but
recent
it
all-time
punched
high was like 73 to 74. So this just punched through. But that's okay. The reason I bring this up is that generally inside the cryptocurrency space, the idea is that the market is very bullish on Donald Trump. So I think it's to me like, so they were saying like, okay, if Donald Trump wins, Bitcoin's going to hit an all-time high. I think that Bitcoin hitting an all-time high is indicative that Donald Trump is going to win.
Sound.
Infidel, we got a Texan that did go out and do their civic duty today and said they did get ID'd in North Texas. Thanks, Nate. So yeah, they're asking for IDs out here in Texas. Can you believe it? The humanity.
They want your ID for like porn. Can you believe it?
They want your ID to go on Twitter, all this, like you need an ID for everything except voting. Sometimes 4 forms of it. Ask Ruckus. Try getting a driver's license here in Texas. That's one of the funnest set of hoops to jump through for the refugees.
Holy shit. But when you finally get to that hoop, they'll ask you if you want to vote. And I said, nope.
Yeah, hold me out. Oh, look at that. We've got Dr. Clown joining us from Media Bear on YouTube. Dr. Clown, what's up, man? Welcome.
Feeling safer than ever. How are you gentlemen doing?
Yeah, I feel safer now that you're here. We needed the safety lab.
Just looking at the picture, why do they call him Dr. Clown? I'm kidding.
Can't imagine. Thanks
so
for
what are we
joining us,
talking
buddy.
about tonight, gentlemen?
Well,
there's something going on this evening. I don't know if you heard about it. There's something called a selection process. I mean, sorry, elections, or some shit like that. I don't know. That's 3 beers talking. Sorry.
Yeah, man. So we're sitting here wondering if we're going to get the news tonight or if we're just going to watch the numbers shift around. We've been noticing that the numbers are not the same across various mainstream garbage, toxic waste outlets, and just kind of, sucking up all the toxic waste the mainstream media has to offer about who the, I can't say clown in chief now with you here, our illustrious doctor. So puppet in chief is going to be. Are you watching any of this stuff, man?
Yes, definitely.
Any takeaways so far?
No, I've it's much more entertaining to hear everyone else prognosticate about what it is that's happening on the TV screens out there with the people in the lines. It's entertaining to read some of the comments, though.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, the comments are one of the best parts. I've noticed people making social media pages now where all they do is they take something cringy, be it audio or video or a picture, and then they just flash like the best comments on it. They make a short reel out of it. And I find it to be a really fun sort of use of the reels on social media.
Well, yeah, and it's similarly when you're watching these videos that are, designed for oh, sorry. I don't know why my alerts are on. I think that let me turn that off. I did hear you guys talking about someone was talking about their experience going and casting in the selection.
Mm-hmm.
Who was that was talking
Randy
about that?
J.
Yeah, Randy J and Infidel were talking about their experience there.
So I can tell you about mine. I went about a week ago, my wife and I, and it was one of these things where it's at the at the community center kind of thing where you go there to vote or you go there to apply for a job to work at the park and rec center, that kind of thing. I noticed also on the wall that they advertised a kids night. Rule number 1 at the kids night at the Duluth Community Center is no parents allowed.
Oh, okay.
It's 5 o'clock until 9:30. You drop them off, you go see a movie or something like that. You come back, pick them up by 9:30. I'm sure everything's fine. Now, look, my point is this. When I went in there to vote, my driver's license did not correspond with the information that basically my driver's license would have they should have sent me somewhere else, right? However, it had all been sorted out in the registration process for the selection. Therefore, I was able to kind of swat that guy aside, be like, nope, my information's all correct. I'm going to go over here and give him my license. I gave the lady my license, and she's dressed up head to toe like a witch, like from The Wizard of Oz or something, with the black pointy hat.
Yeah.
And she had day-glow green fingernails, really long claw-like fingernails, and really just doing the full-on witch thing. And not everybody there was dressed up. Because she and several other people were. And she prints out my little card for the machine, but she puts a little sticky note on it that has a big letter B written on it. And then I go over and I go through all of the paces and get in line to go over to the scanner with my ballot. And the lady at the end of the line's like, oh, no. Your card has that. You've got to go over to the B machine. I'm like, oh, okay. So I went over to the B machine and I had my ballot in hand, and she's showing me where to insert it into the machine. I'm like, okay, so face up, face down. She said, oh, it doesn't matter. I'm like, you're right. It probably doesn't. And she just instructed me after I put it in, just watch the little number increase by 1 digit down there at the screen. That's how you'll know that your ballot has been cast and your selection is complete.
Huh. What did you think about that?
Did you say face up, face down, or ass up, face down? Sorry.
Yeah, it was the whole thing took about 8 minutes. There was lots of cars in the parking lot with resist stickers and stuff like that on them. And so there's different levels of what they would or wouldn't consider campaign materials within 25 feet of the place. Yeah, it was interesting.
So did you, just so I'm clear, did you feel like the B process, if you will, going in the Bravo line, did something different technically? Like, are you concerned that your vote wasn't counted as the way that you wanted it to? Or like, what was with the B? What do you think's behind that?
I don't know. All that I know is that I'd started to go over to the line to use the machine that I saw everyone else using, as my Pavlovian government education has prompted me to do. And they intercepted me from doing that and said, no, you actually need to go to the other machine.
Cast 10 votes for Kamala without knowing it because of the B machine.
I don't know. I thought maybe because I was on there as an independent, I thought maybe that had something to do with it, but I really have no idea. And then when I was telling my mom about that, she said, oh, well, it might have been like her computer corresponded with which machine the ballots were supposed to go in. I don't know.
Yeah, hard to say, huh? Well, that's cool. I mean, 8 minutes, that's not bad. And some apparently probably like-minded people about. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it was we were in and out of there in a flash, and you know, there's not lots of signs that are in our neighborhood particularly, and we don't particularly know many of our neighbors, as is part of the course for a small suburban neighborhood, Metro Atlanta. And yeah, life will go on regardless.
I sure hope so, man. That's what I'm planning on.
NBC update, if you want. Georgia, Pennsylvania, too close to call. Everything's too close to call. 214 for Trump, 145 for Kamala.
So does that mean that California has started, the West Coast has started giving numbers?
Yeah.
What do we got out of California, Joe?
It has begun.
It's 0, and they called it for Kamala.
What do you
0
mean,
votes
0?
in, and they called it for her.
Well,
wait, 0? And
yeah,
they
0
called it for
0
Kamala?
votes in, and they called it for
Everything's
her.
fine,
Seriously.
people. Go back to sleep. Everything's fine.
Everything's good.
They did that with Washington as well. It's 0%, and it's already blue with the check
I
mark
don't know,
next to
dude.
it.
He might flip Oregon. We'll see. Hey, Hashar, can you, since you mentioned the machines, can you please play that link I sent?
This most recent one here?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Hold up. Oh, gee. All right. Yeah, I got you, man. This will be good.
I want in on some of that action too. I dropped some links earlier.
All right.
too.
I got them queued up here, man. Let's go through our link pile we got right here and get everybody's reactions. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see what Homer Simpson has to say.
Ooh, one of those electronic voting dealies.
One vote for Harris. Thank you.
No, I want to vote for Trump.
2 votes for Harris.
Come on, it's time for a change.
3 votes for Harris.
No.
6 votes for President Harris.
I only meant one of those votes for Harris. This machine is rigged. Let's tell President Harris. This doesn't happen in America. Maybe California, but not in America. Ooh, one of those electronic.
Yeah.
Gotta commit to the bit.
Can I get in on here? I just want to. I hate being like I'm working now. Back into work mode. Matt Groening was also someone who attended Edge, the Jeffrey Epstein funded, John Brockman created science hole with Pinker and Dawkins and all of those. But Matt Groening used to go there too.
Well, maybe that adds a little bit of weight when you put it on the scales as to why The Simpsons is such excellent predictive programming. I mean,
is he or isn't he a 33rd degree Freemason? Go.
Yes. That's a guess. I'm not taking it. Is it not an educated one?
I'm gonna bet on, my money's on yes also. Oh boy.
I'm an undecided vote.
Question, because 33rd degree does not exist. Well, I guess that depends on who you ask. By the way, Dr. Clown, I see your safety lab sticker there. Shout out, my brother.
Looking good.
Let's see here. I think I might have just made contact with someone else who might be joining us. Okay, let's see here. I've got the censored rock video here, Ruckus.
Oh, this is a good one. Just a reminder to everybody, like, what's at stake here. I mean, we're just sitting here drinking and having a good time. We got like weed somewhere in Wales, and maybe like nipple tape involved somewhere. We got this crazy looking guy with the the colored rainbow hair and the face mask going on. So like, it's all serious. Like there's very important things at stake here, people. So I just wanted to remind everybody what's at stake. Go ahead, Hesher.
Oh yeah, we're getting. Oh, I remember this one. Okay, yeah, we're getting reports from even from time travelers, I believe. So let's see what we got here. All right, here we go.
We weren't always like this. We had a beautiful life. The best parties. The most beautiful friends. We thought it was just another election. So a lot of us didn't vote. Why bother? Everyone knew the system was rigged. Many of us even voted for them. I know it sounds crazy now, but we didn't like Democrats back then. We were angry about the vaccine mandates and how they handled the war in Gaza and the way they wanted to censor free speech on the internet.
They want unquestioned obedience.
So what did we end up doing? We voted for the guys who openly said they wanted to imprison dissenters and use the military against their political opponents. So yeah, we were wrong on that, big time. When Trump got sick and died, Vance was 39 years old when he became president. 30 years later, he's still president today. And with the Supreme Court in his hand, they gave him dictatorial powers. They took away women's reproductive rights, outlawed contraception, and removed.
This is probably the most accurate thing I've ever seen in my life.
Repression of dissent, AI surveillance of everything we did or said on a level we couldn't imagine. The government under Vance, Peter Thiel, and Elon Musk set up concentration camps for illegal immigrants.
I'm okay with that.
Then legal immigrants, then even homeless people. They finally admitted climate change was real, but it was too late. Florida sank into the Gulf, and the West burned.
For everyone here.
And cities across the country became uninsurable, then uninhabitable. Musk and Thiel poured all of our resources into artificial intelligence so they and their friends could become immortal. I don't know what happened to them.
He was having an orgasm for sure.
But I know what happened to us.
Wow.
Alrighty then.
That's seriously a Democrat video?
Wow. It's not funny, guys. This is serious shit.
It's got a little something for everybody in it. Look, there's Joseph Arthur. What's up?
Did Alex Jones turn Democrat hardcore and produce that thing? That's out there, man.
What is that? What is that I just wandered into? That was nuts.
Pinch me, I must be dreaming. My brother from another mother. What's up, Joseph?
How you doing? I did 2 Bikram sessions today. I climbed Camelback Mountain. I did a cold plunge. I went in the infrared sauna. I did compression therapy. I did PEMF therapy. And I meditated a bunch. And I wrote a song. That was all just to deal with the anxiety.
What did you vote?
Can you up the volume of your microphone?
Check 1 2. Yeah.
There
Check
we go.
1 2 1 2.
Yeah.
Yo.
Now we're
Yo. Yeah.
Hey, great to see you, man.
Well, yeah, good to see you
Congratulations.
guys.
That's a lot of accomplishments for one day to process and get away from all this.
Yeah, it's a lot of anxiety in the air, isn't it? I guess it's a bloodbath, though. I'm tuning into it now. What's going on?
So far it sure appears that way. It's weird. We were just noticing that California and Washington, or was it Oregon? I think it was Washington, are saying they have 0 votes counted, but they're giving it to Harris already.
Right. Well, there you go.
So
Wouldn't we all agree that's accurate?
I think she just won Washington D.C. They just called 12 electoral votes for her, D.C. or Washington, and she won California. So 54 electoral votes. The numbers are kind of she's closing the gap, so we'll see. 153 to 214, according to this picture.
Have
on
electoral
X.
votes been a thing since the country has been in existence, or is this something new?
Oh, they've been
Not
there.
that new.
I've been
It's
there
around ever since we've been alive, Ruckus.
Okay. Well, but they do that whole gerrymandering thing, right? Haven't they like changed like the amount that each state counts?
I don't
Yeah.
know. What's up, Johnny Vedmore?
Oh, you beautiful man. How's
You're
it going?
beautiful. Yeah, it's
It's
going well.
lovely
This
to
is like
see
a
you.
freaking reunion right here.
Lovely to see you too. How do we get our jobs back on TNT?
I don't know. I think they've got to become successful, so I think that's what's going to happen. They got to become successful, and everybody wants to be part of it. I don't know. I don't know how that happens. I don't know how to create success. Unfortunately, tale as old as time.
We're good at creating drama, though, aren't we?
I guess
Well, you guys do have a doctor in here. If we need to talk about it,
There
I'm
he
here and
is,
I can
Dr.
help you
Clown.
process it.
Help us. What's your take on all this, Dr. Clown?
Well, it does. It seems insurmountable, but I mean, when faced with adversity, it's important to stay positive, and I think that I've seen all of you guys do that. I'm a follower of all of you guys on the various socials, and so it's just an honor to be here, to even be in a position to be asked the question. Thank you.
Oh, man.
All right.
Appreciate that. We love you too, buddy.
Yeah, it's nice to see you. It's nice to see everybody.
Yeah, this is a great group. I was kind of like feeling a little grim walking into this, but now that I see all my friends here with me, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I could care less who
I
comes
have
out.
to ask, which one of us actually voted?
I voted.
I did.
All right.
I did.
That's
Now I feel like an asshole.
I did my civic duty. Where's my sticker? Oh, I left it in my car, but I did vote.
I know. Even actually, I feel bad because
I got an
even
extra.
Bill Cooper would be mad at me right now. But the thing is, like, look, you brought this up earlier, Hector. It was so many hoops to jump through just to get a damn ID. So I was not in a position or ready to vote this year. Plus, I had convinced myself, whether or not that's true, okay, but you can't blame me. You can't blame me considering what I do. I had convinced myself that my vote wouldn't matter. So, but otherwise, if you had asked me maybe 4 years ago, 8 years ago, I would have been happy to vote. And
Wait,
if
did you-
I had voted, I probably would have voted for neither one of these douchebags. Go ahead.
Did you just confirm that voter ID disfranchised you?
Well,
It
yes,
seems you
no,
just
it's been
did.
very difficult.
It seems you just
Look,
did.
man, I understand where they're coming from, dude. It is not easy to get a fucking ID. I mean, and look
How
at
do you
my
go into
skin
bars?
color,
How do
people.
you get into bars?
Okay, so that's not some sort of talking point here. It's true. Anyway.
we can get him into the bar now, Infidel. But it took a good 8 months to get the ID to
That's
like.
true. Well, actually, shout out to Texas. They never seem to give a flying fuck about asking for my ID ever, ever.
In Arizona, it was a thing. They were like, oh, there's huge lines, and they were like, you have to have mail and all this other stuff if you don't have an ID that matches your address in the system. It was a whole thing. I asked a couple girls ahead of me. I was like, I thought there was like no voter ID. I thought that was the controversy, and they were like, I guess not. But then they give you paper ballots, and then you fill it in like old school, like elementary school tests back in the sort of the 80s. You fill in the hole with your pen and
On the
stuff.
Scantron? Wow.
Yeah, it's like old school paper. They do it old school out here in Arizona.
That's what I did too in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Joseph, what's a PFMA or PFMA?
Okay, so it's
what's that?
It's PEMF, and it's
Well,
this
what's
machine you sit on, and it jolts you. It's just like jing, 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 and it's like being like, you know, those heart things when your heart stops.
Yeah.
It feels like. Well, I mean, I never had that, thank God, but it's.
And
like
that's how you vote in America.
That's one way to do it.
So it's a current. It's current.
It's all part of this biohacking stuff. It basically what it's supposed to do is sort of send electric pulses through your on a cellular level and sort of take away inflammation and do all kinds of stuff. I don't know if it's legit or not, but it feels good to do it. And you put on the big compression therapy things on your legs, and it takes it compresses your legs, and it what's it called? It's supposed to do something with the lymph, moves the lymph. And so you're on that machine for like a half hour, and yeah, you feel recharged. It's excellent. I start the mornings there.
Nice.
And then
That sounds like
yoga.
the type of stuff you need, like recommended from a doctor. What would Dr. Clown have to say about such treatments?
Yeah, Dr. Clown, have you ever heard of this PEMF machine? PEMF is what it's called.
Are there magnets involved or something?
It's I forget what it stands for, but it's like pulse magnetic electroshock therapy kind of thing.
Is it a headset of some kind?
No, it's a big mat you sit on, and it's hooked up to this giant machine, and you can adjust the strength of it. So it's like pulses fast at a low strength, and then at a high strength it goes like click, 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 and it jolts your whole, like you just do like this. It just surges what feels like electricity through your whole body, and you can feel it at the tips of your fingers.
Whoa.
And you just breathe into it. It's trippy. At first it's really uncomfortable, and then you start to like it. Like
It's similar to the TINS
like
unit
drinking or something.
that you use sometime for your muscles.
Interesting.
You use some of those?
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. But like,
Did you change political affiliation after using it?
Yeah, that was and gender.
And that's how you vote for Kamala Harris.
I'm a white dude for Kamala, bro, all the way. Or what? Yeah, dudes for Kamala. Yeah. What a
You're
trip!
right.
What's this
White
gonna
dudes.
do? What is this gonna do for the country? Do you think if Trump wins? Past the sort of chaos period, do you think that there's going to be a lot of social change in terms of some of the, lib madness that we encounter, the woke madness, the woke mind virus? Do you think that's going to step down now?
I think majority of the country is sick of this, but there are
Right.
still people that are into it. But I think the majority, or what we call the silent majority, is just sick of it. And I think
Right.
there will be some change. Here is the good thing about this election. Trump so far is winning the popular vote by 5 million. He might end up actually winning the popular vote. So that can prevent some of the chaos that they might try to do with some, like, demonstrations and stuff. We'll see the shenanigans after. It might get a winter of love. Who knows?
Yeah, really.
I have an opinion on this as a dad of a young adult and a teenager. I have one daughter who's 20 years old, and all I know is that none of her friends that I have met, which are the people that she gives any, cares very much about, are infected with the aforementioned woke mind virus, of which I am astutely aware and I have a very keen set of skills to detect, and machinery and hardware such as the PVMF mat that I'm going to be researching deeply.
Yeah.
And similarly with my 16-year-old, it's eye-rolling exhaustion with a lot of the woke stuff. So I think that generationally it's fading away too.
Yeah, there's going to be a counter reaction. I heard that earlier today. Like the youth are going to become sort of more traditional and rebel against it, which makes sense. Why wouldn't they rebel? It's PEMF though. Don't research PDMF. I don't know if you said D or E.
PDMF. You build my
PEMF, I'm looking at it right here.
PDMF.
I see there's a couple different sizes and setups here for it, so I'm going to look into it.
You can get a home machine like for $1,000 or something, but the machine at the place I go to is like 30 G's. I looked into it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it must be better, right? If it costs that much more, I don't know what the home one is like, but
well, look at me. Yeah. If I'm not a contender to get a sponsorship from these guys, I mean, I could be a very effective paid expert on the device.
That's true. You in that getup, getting electroshocked would be a sight to behold for sure.
Indeed.
Oh, I think he's at the top of the list.
There you go.
There you go, right
there
there.
you go.
There's
Right
there's your consumer grade
your mat.
PEMF Pro mat, $1,300 pretty much. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Add to cart.
$1,300.
I will research that and see.
Yeah, it's good for you. Yeah, you can, it helps you sleep, everything. I mean,
man, I don't know. I could get a new rifle for that much money, dude.
I thought about this,
this
concept
called North Carolina.
I thought of this concept for this comedy show called the Biohack. And like I'm the biohack, but I do all these biohack things, but I'm like really terrible at it. Like I'm all pumped about it and I'm selling it, but then I get in the cold plunge and I jump out after like 1 second because I'm the biohack.
So you wrestle brand.
Like I get in the PEMF machine and I'm like right away like screaming and jumping off of it. I mean it's a gag that would run out rather quickly. You get in the infrared sauna and you like have to get out after 30 seconds, you know. You'd have to like figure out other material, but I think the concept is pretty good. The biohack,
solid, dude.
Yeah. So Randy J, yes, they called it, but as I say, Decision headquarter called it like 2 hours ago, but AP right now just called North Carolina. So.
Wow.
NBC's got 214 to 165 in favor of Trump.
Let's go. Can we go back to because I think what Joseph was saying there about what comes next is not just like what comes the day after. It's like you can imagine the process of filling the positions that is going to come the next 2 months until January is going to be all pomp and ceremony, all rumors, all speculation. But then comes a point where technocrats are in office, and there has to be some sort of counterweight. And I don't know what comes next. I think it could be like savage libertarian ideologies cutting through everything in government as much as it possibly can. But then even then, how long can it do that before next election comes and there has to be a new president? So it's like, how much can they get through? But they're going to try and get through a load of it. I really liked that clip that was being played beforehand, where J.D. Vance turns out to be the fascist dictator of the world, because he does have that look, doesn't he? He does have a very special look. He could be the guy.
I thought that was the answer.
He would be the first millennial VP, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah, good point.
It would be.
He's from Ohio by way of West Virginia, which is
right.
that's my trajectory as well. And he was talking about lots of Ohioans have family in West Virginia because we all moved to get jobs, in the Industrial Revolution and the Great Lakes over there in Ohio, the rubber factories and all that. And that's exactly what my family's like, too. So I have this innate trust of him just because we have the same sort of origin story.
And he served in the military, like, for real. Probably, like,
do you think
like
there's a
Walls
devil?
did.
Do you think there's a devil on that crossroads of America? It's a dangerous place. There's some of the stuff like... Ohio's got Wexner hanging around in there. When I did the Pottinger series, Pottinger and Steinem, I think both come from Ohio. It's some really naughty people who are intelligence agents from the past who have, definitely been from Ohio. It's a naughty place. Place.
It is interesting.
Lots of naughty stuff going on. High-level naughty stuff.
And a lot of high-level amazing stuff going on, too. Like, AA was founded in Akron, Ohio, interestingly. And I mean, the 12-step movement came out of Ohio. So it's, that's an intense movement as well. I mean, think about how many lives that's affected. Comes straight from there.
Well, the jury's out, Joseph, about never mind. I don't want to send you down that rabbit hole. I'll just shut up.
Yeah. Hey, Johnny, what other naughty stuff comes out of Ohio? Like, what are you talking about?
I just like that because I did the whole, when I went on your show and talked about the Pottinger series, Stan Pottinger, when I was researching his family, I mean, they were crazy. Everybody within there was crazy. All the stories that were around in the papers in Ohio, and I spent a lot of time looking around in Dayton area, and there was crazy stuff going on there. People were really just like, it just feel like a strange energy, and there seems to be loads of I found it very interesting, the Wexner thing. He tried to move to New York, but he couldn't handle it. He was like one of those Ohio mafioso type guys, which is a little bit different. They're like businessmen. They're businessmen in a different way. They're like, I find it really interesting. So I'd like to look. Yeah, I'd like to look more into Ohio. Maybe do a stories of Ohio, because I bet you'd find loads. I mean, one of the stories was Stan Pottinger's brother, who made it look like he had been kidnapped and murdered, and actually stole a loan and went off and ran off with a 16, 17-year-old girl called Sherry Vandervile and smuggled her across borders and went on a yacht with her. And it was he had faked his own disappearance. It was fantastic. All the cops were out looking for him, and just that's one of the many stories from Ohio. Is just like amazing place.
Yeah. Stan Hewitt Hall too. There's some interesting things about that place too. Stan, let me see.
Hey, Ohio, holy moly!
And the term rock and roll was coined from a DJ in Ohio, which is why it has the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did not know that either.
And Rush's first single, Working Man, was broken out of Ohio. So
all right,
we have Ohio to thank for Rush. That's important. They're one of the greatest of all time.
Absolutely. Yeah, Ruckus and I and Spore have met a couple of freak shows out of Ohio, but also a couple of great people too. So, in a mixed bag. Definitely a couple of.
Not the least of which is Joseph Arthur. I mean, yeah, he's on the good side, not the freak show.
He's all right.
Yeah, like glorious.
Yeah, and doesn't Misty live there? Misty Winston's in Ohio.
As far, no, and Misty.
Oh
yes,
yeah, Misty
absolutely.
Winston. That's
100%.
Shout out to.
And
Misty.
as far as the freak shows go from Ohio, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, we'll save that for another broadcast that we'll never do.
Well, you know what? With what Johnny was just saying about like the sort of administration, I think what's interesting if Trump gets in the RFK Jr. and the sort of reformulation of the health rituals in America. I mean, I think that can have an enormous impact. And obviously, as well, this is going to embolden Elon Musk and X. I mean, I think some of the. What do you guys think to some of what he was talking about on Joe Rogan about how, like, if Kamala wins, or Kamala, however you say it, wins, that they would like take apart X and probably throw him in the slammer and all that, and free speech would be over. Do you think he was being a little dramatic, or do you think there was some legitimacy to that?
I mean, honestly, I feel like that has already happened. We're already there, and if anybody wants to roll it back, good on them. But I'm not gonna hold my breath for it.
What do you mean you don't think there's free speech on X? Is what you're saying?
No, not really. I mean, there's more than there used to be, and you're currently allowed to talk about more topics than you used to be allowed to talk about, because they're all wrapped in a political veneer instead of a informational, fact-based, common sense-based sort of lens, and the political veneer, like everybody that's boosted in that part of the algorithm are already, written in or, achieved escape velocity, as you like to say. And, it's fine for them to talk about some of these things because, they keep it in the window of acceptable conversation. It's just that window has moved recently. So it feels shocking to people still to hear the conversations in mainstream, what they think are alternative voices, but are actually mainstream voices. So,
but it's still Hamilton 69 now.
Yeah,
that's what it is. So he's got his tongue deep right inside you. He's got that's the difference between Hamilton 68 and 69. Because that's why I reckon it's just a new computer program that's being run, and it's open in different ways. But that's mostly for development of the platform as well. It feels, and once they learn how to restrict certain things in certain ways, they like to implement these things.
Who runs or who started Hamilton 68? Johnny, do you know?
Yeah, that was Alliance for Securing Democracy run out of the German Marshall Fund at Harvard. So the German Marshall Fund was Guido Goldman, who was the best friend of Henry Kissinger. They used to live together. Guido Goldman organized Kissinger's birthday parties and stuff. And really interesting, right? Really interesting story. But yeah, the whole the Alliance for Securing Democracy are all a bunch of neocons, and they're all testing information, and mostly it's trying to instigate an information war against Russia. That's really what they wanted to do, and a lot of it was focused towards the East when they were first doing it on Twitter. And so that was like a computer program that was run out of the German Marshall Fund by the Alliance for Securing Democracy, and it was it was more aligned with censorship. Whatever they're running now is more about gathering information and harvesting information. And that's why Elon Musk come in. The amount of connections Elon Musk has got to data gathering sort of entrepreneurs and pioneers, etc. It gives them a load of ground to suddenly install things like Grok and stuff, and it's swallowing up information. Spaces expands, swallowing up information, analyzing and feeding the AI, They're feeding the beast. They're feeding the beast, but they know where the beast leads, and it doesn't lead to a place which is rational. It leads to a place which is fifth generation warfare. So it's like being inside some form of space diamond that you can't work out where the edges are and whatnot. That's really what we're heading towards. We're heading towards not knowing what the fuck's going on all over the place all of the time. And X is an expression, the first initial expression of that, I think. Now,
there's a crossroads happening here because I'm doing research on my next episode of the Daily Ruckus involving all of these things, and if I'm not mistaken, it's either the GEC or the Center for Countering Digital Hate, the CCDH, which is related to the guy who created the Hamilton 68 dashboard. Do you know which one of those groups it is? Oh, okay. All right, then. I guess it's up to me to finish doing my next episode of the Daily Ruckus then.
Well, Bitcoin's about to hit 75K.
Well, they just still no, Joseph, you just missed it. It already broke all-time high, the all-time high, bro.
I'm just looking at it
now. And your
now.
Dogecoin, by the way, doing very well. Doing
Those
quite well.
Doge dollars.
Oh, man. Was anybody bummed? Oh, go ahead.
No, I just want to go back to the next steps because I heard JFK talk about this
RFK.
in one of RFK. Sorry.
Wow, you're hearing JFK.
I'm going back in time.
Some of what you got, bro?
Yeah, I know, right?
The dead.
My hook has spiked tonight.
He's talking about Q, everybody. He's one of those Q guys.
Yeah.
George, not Bush, Washington was telling me. Oh, right.
So RFK was saying, and number one, like Trump on Rogan admitted what he did in 2016 and how his administration got packed.
Yeah.
But what RFK said in that interview that I heard was actually Trump. The difference this time is, so usually you start your transition right after the election, and that's when it's actually funded by that. I forgot there is basically government.
Yeah, he started it earlier.
Yeah, so he started actually earlier with his private money to bring in
swamp creatures,
swamp people in there. So that I'm hoping that will start seeing some of this if he wins tonight, but that also give me some hope. We'll see how it plays out.
I wish
Well,
Joe
it doesn't
Rogan
give me
would
hope.
have asked him about the vaccine, or the waxine, whatever I'm supposed to say on this stream. I was disappointed that he didn't say, like, hey, man, have you noticed a lot of sudden deaths? I mean, does that concern you at all? He could have just thrown a little question, addressing the nonsense that we had to face for the last 4 years. I mean,
or like, why did you change your opinion, sir? Because in 2014, you were making public comments that were very skeptical of the entire industry.
Yeah.
And then, now you're the, father of warp speed.
Yeah. I wish he would have held his feet to the fire a little bit, at least.
I agree.
On that. Just that would have been an interesting thing to hear him say. And then, I mean, because obviously Joe knows what's going on with all that stuff. He could have said, "Does it concern you at all? What do you think?" I mean,
Yeah.
you know, he could have asked it in a gentle-ish way.
You could have asked him about why he went after Assange. You know, why
yeah.
Assange? You know,
Yeah. Why didn't he liberate Assange, or what? Mike Pompeo tried to get him killed or something like that.
Yeah.
right?
Why did you stand by and allow Mike Pompeo to draw up plans to assassinate him and then indict him? You know, that's
Yeah.
like to know.
I get a feeling that
I
he's
would've
going to
liked to know
say like Mike Pompeo's a really bad person eventually, because he said he was so good. He was like, he's a really good person. He's a really good person. I get a feeling in about 3 months' time he's going to be like, Mike Pompeo is terrible. He's awful. He's a very bad man.
Well, you heard what he said about Bolton on that show, right? That
Yeah.
he's a maniac, but he used him for his advantage when he comes out because he scared other people. So.
That's true.
Walrus mustache.
Yeah, the walrus, cuckoo, cuckoo, the war walrus.
So Pennsylvania was 78% reporting. He's expanding his lead now.
78%. Are
To
they really?
200,000 votes.
Are you kidding me? He's got
Pennsylvania?
78% in Pennsylvania.
No,
Yeah.
78% reporting. He's
Reported.
got
Reported.
Okay.
200,000.
Okay.
200,000 votes.
No, that would be the end of the election if he wins that, right? I mean, that would be a wrap.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And didn't Pennsylvania try to say, "Hey, we got to stop counting at 10," and then they got like called to task or something?
Yeah,
They
I did hear something about that the other day.
No, this happened tonight.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. They said we got to stop at 10, and maybe it happened earlier. I'd heard it through a friend, so I assumed it happened tonight. But
All right.
they said they have to. That's against the law, and they're making them count through the night. So,
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
So it looks like the Senate's actually pretty interesting too, and
Yeah, dude.
the Senate may actually be, arguing
Right now, actually, it's a 50, and there is still like 5 seats leaning Republican out, 4 seats leaning Republican out there. So
Yep.
it's actually, they might have majority in the Senate. House, interesting. We'll see how the House goes, but it looks like they might hold the majority in the House too.
Yeah, it does. I mean,
It's amazing stuff.
Yeah, a lot of Senate races being called right now on this ticker here. New Mexico.
So here is one thing you need to watch about in the Senate. Who they are going to elect as the majority leader, because that will dictate if they will let Swamp Creature to go through in his administration or not, right? Because they can stop some of the people that he might want to put in there. So.
Right. Your state, we got Blackburn on the Senate. We got Cruz on the Senate. Good. That other guy was creepy. Utah got Republican.
Curtis, yeah.
Virginia, R.I.P. Cow in this one. That's Hung Cow right there. He was a great candidate. I interviewed him multiple times. He was really cool. Bernie Sanders, look, Bernie got it. Washington went blue with incumbent. West Virginia went red.
We're okay. You know what? Hash your timeout. Screw all this shit. Where's the good stuff? Where's the shenanigans?
The burning ballot boxes and such?
Where's the burning ballot boxes? Where's the violence? Where's all this stuff that we were promised? I mean, warned that could possibly happen.
Doesn't look like it.
So what happened? What's going on? What's going on here? I'm confused. I was promised like absolute fucking chaos, and this is kind of boring, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. Looking at that vote, it seems that Trump came out.
Trump won North Carolina. Now it's 230 to 172.
Wow.
Well, the shenanigans can still happen once he wins, right?
Come on, you can still have shenanigans.
The weird one.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Randy.
The weird one right now is Georgia, because if you look at North Carolina and Georgia, it's almost identical statistically. 26. I'm just rounding numbers there. 2.6 million the 2.4 Trump, North Carolina, they called it. And that's it, 90%. Georgia's at 91%. 2.5 million to 2.4, but they're holding on for some reason. But if it goes the way it should, looking at it, unless the magical 200 and something thousand out of the last 9% all go blue, or more than that, because it would assume that nobody was going red, then it would make it 246, because Georgia is holding on to 16. So, like I was saying, I texted you earlier. I think Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina were going to be the ones. If whoever got 2 out of 3 of those is looking pretty good. Really, everything else could go blue if he gets Georgia and Pennsylvania. All he needs is like Alaska or something like that, and everything else could go kind of how it's projected,
Guys.
or even.
NBC News just projected Trump the winner of North Carolina.
He won North Carolina already.
Oh, but they're probably holdouts, Joe. Like the
yeah.
MSNBC wants to like say it last. You know what I mean? They're like,
Yeah.
We're gonna wait for 99.9% of the votes and then call it. You know.
Can we talk about fashion for 1 second? And this is like, and somebody who I never thought I'd really bring up, but Jill Biden wearing an all red pantsuit to go vote. What's up with that?
I missed that.
Oh yeah, dude.
An all red, blood red pantsuit.
Joe Biden in a
No,
pantsuit.
Jill.
Oh,
Which I have
man.
to say looked fantastic. I never saw her look better, but it's still an interesting choice on election day. Getting photographed coming. I mean, there's your conspiracy fodder, Ruckus. Where's Ruckus? Did he?
Well, he's taking that information elsewhere to the bathroom, maybe.
I think they're just buying time with Georgia. You know, that's where I am, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're just waiting and just dragging it out, just to maybe there's some more commercial airtime that has to be peddled.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Georgia
Good point.
Let me
will
go
be
get
for
my
Trump.
red jacket.
Yeah,
Hold on
he's
1 second.
gonna get to Georgia.
In fact, I'm gonna actually pop off and listen to you guys online, and just go drive around some of those places and just find out what the hell's going on. See if they can just go ahead and wrap this thing up already.
There you go.
That would be great, man. Thank you for doing that.
Yep.
Appreciate your service.
Hesher, it was fantastic to see you. Ruckus,
Thank
always
you,
a
Dr.
pleasure.
Clown. Thank you so much.
Johnny Vedmore, I'm a huge fan of your work. My
Love
wife
you, Dr.
too.
Clown.
We both love your stuff. And Joseph, fantastic to see you as always, man.
Tell everyone where to find your stuff, Dr. Clown.
Yeah, give it a shout.
Well, Infidel Pharaoh knows that you can go to drclown.com and play any of our videos, whether it's been banned on YouTube or not. And RJ could easily tell you that my go-to statement in life, regardless of what happens, and regardless of what doesn't happen, is to remember to stay positive and asymptomatic.
Yes. Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Dr. Clown. Let us know what you see out there. Keep in touch, my friend.
Dr. Clown just
Media
leave?
Bear. Yeah, Dr. Clown just had to bail out there.
He gave you love. He sent you love.
Did.
before
Yeah, he didn't have
left.
your earbuds in yet. But just giving you the love.
I just got my red jacket on. From
I saw that.
Joe Biden.
Yeah, man. Well, it looks like it's going to be a red wave tonight, perhaps. So the red jacket is appropriately timed.
Someone
I think-
that suit and put MAGA all over it. That Jill Biden picture. I'm trying to find it. Very funny.
It's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
I think the guy who just went off the air was the one talking about Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's onto it. For ratings purposes, they probably called Virginia at 83%, while we still got Georgia at 91%. And the distance between each is about the same, about 150K. But they called one at 83% and the other at 91%. But it just gets her over 200, right? Makes it look close, and so suspenseful. Got to keep the viewers on.
Right.
True.
Right. Let me check in on Mark Anderson, see if he's back on the line here. Hey, Mark.
He's still in the mosque.
Mark, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm driving about a 15-mile stretch. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you, man. What are you seeing out there?
Yeah. Well, not many cars. Everybody's glued to their TV. There's less cars than you would normally see in this fairly busy part of South Texas. So I guess everybody's strapped to their television.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I got away from TV land and internet land for a while, but still seeing a lot of inconsistent electoral numbers, although not as inconsistent, but still variances between the different media outlets at the same time. And so I guess one thing to think about is whether there'll be some strange ballot dump in the morning of all these mail-in ballots or something that, oops, we didn't see these over here that weren't counted yet. That would be something to hold our breath about.
Yeah. I have a feeling they're going to call it tonight. I think it's going to get
so, too.
Pennsylvania and Wisconsin pretty soon.
Yeah, I have that same instinct. Could
I'm
be
a
wrong.
little surprised, man. I think we could still see something happen, and it's pretty obvious. I'm gonna go out on a prediction limb here and say it's gonna be in Portland and it's gonna be in Seattle, and that's right where we expect those things to happen. So. I don't even know if that is going to be big news when that pops off, unless they just give it to them and they allow Chaz 2.0 to pop off.
Missile test.
The Chaz.
Missile test.
I think they got an electoral vote. The Chaz.
The Chaz has an electoral college vote.
Yeah. Was it some rapper in charge of that or something like that? As long as it lasted. Is it still in existence?
Yes.
Yeah, well, no. Well, it's in spirit, yeah. I mean, I'm sure the leadership's all still there. But yeah, I remember that guy. We did a whole episode on that weirdo. I'm going with Fed Boy asset personally. He seemed like a non-khaki wearing Fed Boy to me.
Yeah, that whole thing seems surreal.
But
it seems like it could happen again too.
Yeah. No, it's I don't know, man. I'm gonna be pretty surprised if we shut this down or go to bed tonight and are told it's Donald Trump and wake up in the morning and it's still that. I have a hard time believing.
I'm not sleeping. I'm not gonna do the same mistake again.
All night.
I'm gonna be awake.
We have to.
If it all stays awake, then it'll stay the same. Then if he goes to bed, we could all blame Infidel.
Yep.
Hey, fellas, I got to jump. Around 9, so I'm gonna just say adios now. But I'm going back to a couple things. One is it feels like 2016, but right now at this point, last year or the last go around, it kind of looked like this, and then like Infidel was saying, we went to sleep and we're like, huh? So, anyways, I'll be awake too because I work third shift where I'm at, and so I'll keep my eyes on the background. But thanks for having me on again. Adios, everyone. And no matter who wins, I'm not saying take this to the bank. There's only probabilities really, but I think we're basically going to see who gets to captain the ship for a economic crash. If she wins, and I would have said this a week ago, if she wins, it'll be like, well, there you go. What'd you expect? She got us there. And if he wins, they're going to say he got us there and he did it fast just by him being, announced. But I think in the next 6 to 9 months, it's going to go from bad to worse economically. I think everything's overheated and we're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Just personal take on that one. So,
all right.
Anyways,
good one, Randy. And Christopher J in the X chat says, Raz Simone, thank you for the reminder. Raz Simone, the Chaz rapper.
That's what he was.
I'm curious, Randy, are those shoes Vans, and are you going to eat them anytime soon?
That was a whole different bet. And I was hoping that one got memory hold.
No chance
Anyway.
in hell, my friend. Thanks for joining us tonight. Love you, man.
All right, man. Later, everyone.
All right, later,
All right.
Randy. Thanks for being here tonight, buddy. All right, there goes Randy J. All right, people are starting to drop like flies here. Infidel, are we going to be able to hang all night, or are we going to keep the dream alive?
I don't know about you guys. I'm gonna be up, so I will leave it up to you, man. Whenever you want to call it.
Oh, I'm up all night too, guys, because it might be the end of the world. Because Hesher, I keep trying to catch your attention with this shit, but like everybody is trying to catch our attention with this shit. We better talk about this soon, before it's too late. But yeah, other side of the mountain on Twitter, and then Burning Beard. Everybody's like, yo, what's going on here? They want to test launch a like hypersonic missile or some shit right after the election.
Yeah.
Like, what the
Right?
fuck?
Who's testing what?
Yeah, out
this
of
is crazy.
Vandenberg, right?
I just saw headlines about this. U.S. is doing it hypersonic missile test tonight.
Yeah, like we're testing Minuteman nuclear missiles and shit.
Yeah,
Minuteman
Russian
3.
missiles are much better than the Western missiles
Yeah,
at the
these-
moment. The Russians have got like just a little bit of a boost ahead of the West, so they're trying to catch up and trying to make it. This is like cyber Cold War. This is going to be. This is going to be the cyber Cold War. It's probably very contrived as well.
Yeah, there's a reason why they're announcing it publicly too. Like, I may not know
I
what
just
that
don't
is.
like the fucking timing of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's why and why now. You know, those are the big questions. Yeah, New York Times saying Trump will likely win. Projected to win 301 of 270.
Wait, who said that?
New York Times.
New York Times.
Yeah.
Oh, Grey Lady
GTFO.
speaks.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Somebody
saying,
pinch
man.
me.
That's why I say they are not. It was too. I don't think they had the chance to do shenanigans this time.
Right.
And I
That's
think
what it
they wanted
seems
to
like.
save their face for the next one.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Or they have something else, another trick
Else
up
in
their
place,
sleeve.
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's see.
Yeah, there's going to be loads of crazy stuff going on. I'll put forward a prediction, though. I can, not to be too depressing, because this isn't too depressing, but one of the things I see happening, if you think logically, when you think about these big characters who are going into government, people like Elon Musk and RFK Jr., I think there's going to be eventually Elon Musk having to go to Senate or congressional hearings where he's going to have to give a reason why he can have so much power in the business world, so much power over information exchange and being government. I think that is going to catch up. However much like it wasn't completely focused upon during the election, I think that is going to be something the other side is going to use against Elon Musk to cause the constant trying to keep him busy with other stuff. I see something like that coming. Not straight away, but in a couple of years.
Yeah, definitely possible, but strange, at the same time, the whole it's weird the way he's got all these government contracts, and is involved in the space program, which is, basically a descendant of Paperclip and all this other strange stuff. It's like he plays this double role, like on the one hand, he's like pissing people in government off, and he's marauding around as the genius billionaire, and then on the other hand he's taking billion-dollar contracts from multiple governments, quite frankly, and NATO oriented entities and stuff like that. And it's just like, okay, if this guy's really a problem to the deep state, why do they keep writing him checks? Why does he have access to Vandenberg Air Force Base for his tech, where right now, tonight, or in a couple hours, thanks Creative Accidents, here's the skinny on that for anyone that was wondering. The Vandenberg Space Force Base has planned an ICBM test to take place between 11:01 p.m. Pacific time tonight, November 5th, and 5:01 a.m. Pacific time on November 6th. from the base's northern section. The Air Force Global Strike Command stated that this test is intended solely to assess the readiness of U.S. nuclear forces and, quote, reinforce confidence and strength of the nation's nuclear deterrence, end quote. So, interesting. So it's an unarmed Minuteman III test. I've got a link here. Thanks, Brendan Beard. I'll put that on the show page. So for any of you out there watching, want to look
Did
into
it
that
say
more.
how fast it could travel? How quickly? Is this like a 10-minute thing, 30-second thing? What's hypersonic? I mean, hypersonic is I can't understand these type of words and what it actually means in reality.
Yeah, we would have to actually look into the Minuteman III spec probably, because in this article I'm not seeing anything about hypersonic speeds, but maybe that's just inherent in a Minuteman III ICBM. I don't know. I don't think so. I think those have been around, but maybe the 3 is a newer model that's hypersonic. So unknown to me by what I'm reading here.
Yeah.
Oh, and apparently,
what about Trump ending the wars? Do you think he's going to really do that? He made big promises with that. Are they going to all go away?
well, the fact that he even made the promise. I mean, I've said this on Sunday, and I'll keep saying it as we go through the show here, and maybe we'll even go to bed knowing it and get to see it. But I mostly just want to see the Democrats lose. That's my main thing. I don't really put too much stake in Trump winning, but the Democrats losing would just be amazing and awesome for many reasons, regardless of the unstoppable train that is technocracy. When you zoom out, like just that may just be my own political bias as the pendulum goes right to left, every 4 years now. It's kind of like you just get browbeaten on one side, and then I don't know, you led around by the nose on your side and browbeaten by the other side, and then the pendulum switches, and then those roles all switch. It's just like, I don't know, but sorry, I lost my train of thought because I'm looking at this Minuteman thing at the same time as I'm talking here, man. But I do
subjects.
I do think that like in the short term, a lot of things could be made a little bit better, and like for me, like it would be sort of Trump's last chance. Like this is your last chance to show anyone that you have the ability to drain any sort of swampage in this country, because most of what we see at the top is swamp. So, but if
There's
you're going
no
to come
better
in,
expression of swamp than war itself, and I mean, there's the two main wars that are going on, and they're both an expression of that, because the swamp is like things like the neocons and these people who are pushing us into this sort of dynamic. And I think I think it'll be much easier, and it's like you just got to wait for the paradigm to shift in the right way for Putin and Trump to then be able to go, oh look, we're gonna do some big peace thing and everything's fine in Ukraine now, and all of the war stops. Russia gets a little bit of the land that's Russian kind of speaking, Russian ethnicity anyway, so on, and a look down at Palestine, and Israel has been pushing away as fast as it can into Lebanon, so that when it gets pulled back into Trump, it's made a little bit of ground already. So they're just really going as fast as they can, because I think it'll have to go into some form of peace talks. And Netanyahu's like crapping himself about that. He's really worried about what comes next, obviously, because every time he may lose power, it also means people will want some sort of action against him. So it's that thing that Trump will stop war. Whether I'm indifferent to both sides, because they're all Zionists, but the most likely people to stop what's currently going on in Palestine is hands down Trump, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and Ukraine's kind of falling apart on its own. That's sort of winding down. They're running out of people to throw in the meat grinder there, and they're never going to defeat Russia. And like everybody seems to realize that, and they've extracted so much money out of us now that
Napoleon realized it, Hitler realized it, now we're realizing it. Oh my God.
Right, like they're going to be able to retire the little green army man into Florida or something pretty soon here. I think they're going to have to replace that guy. But You know, and Trump could definitely take credit for that, and I think that would be a lot easier to shut down than the mess that's going on with Israel and Palestine right now. That one, I don't know. That kind of remains to be seen. But I also kind of feel like the damage has already been done. Like the damage that he and his little Jared Kushner crew wanted to, you know, assist in is done. Like that place is leveled now. You know, it's going to be rebuilt, and it's not going to be rebuilt by Palestinians unless, you know, something drastic happens.
So,
Right.
so number one, they just sent $495 million to Ukraine.
Yeah.
So at least drawing this money out, I think the first thing he's going to dry this money out, and I think that's going to kill that conflict right away.
That's true.
But again, I'm going to go back to the meltdown that the mainstream media did against him when he said like he wants Liz Cheney to be executed. You guys?
Well, he didn't say that.
I know he did not say
It
that.
was
Yes.
the chicken hawk thing. He said,
he
how
said,
would she feel if she had guns pointed at her? I mean, he said it in a way that was
I'm going to have to put my
feeding
nibble
it.
tape back on.
Well, he said the new cons should go and fight those wars that they start.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that some liberal people got disturbed that they were suddenly on the same side as Dick Cheney? I mean, I didn't hear anyone really talk about that.
Isn't that amazing?
Like he was like sort of Dr. Evil forever, especially every liberal person in the world thought of him as Dr. Evil for many, many years, and suddenly they're on the same team.
I have one example. Joseph, I have one example. Jon Stewart. Credit where credit is due. Jon Stewart had Tim Walz on his show, and he said to Tim Walz, like, you know, he put it out there. He did it in a funny way, obviously. It probably should have been more serious.
Yeah,
But
Jon Stewart's good.
so are we really doing this? Like, are we really doing the, you know, the guy with the shotgun thing? Are we really going to do?
Oh, so he talked about Tim Walz with the shotgun, right? But I mean,
well, no, he was talking about how the
Cheney.
Harris campaign is getting endorsements from Cheney, and he's
I
like,
see.
because Walz actually said it to him. He dropped it like he was all proud to say it, and John stopped him, and he was like, "Wait a minute." Do we really want Dick Cheney's endorsement? Like, is that really something we want?
This is what happens when you because when Clinton and Blair over here introduced like third wave politics, it drew everybody into the center, and it meant that all parties to gain power had to move to the center ground, and the center left and center right become over time synthesized and intermingle. And we look at the election we just had. I mean, Elon Musk used to be a Democrat. Donald Trump used to be a Democrat. RFK Jr. literally just used to be a Democrat politician. We watched him. Tulsi Gabbard used to be a Democrat. We're seeing the center just merge, and Cheney's going on. It just makes sense. Once Cheney went over to the other side, I was like, yeah, of course, that's the way it works now. They're all mingling around in the same ballroom, and they just like, I'm just going to go over here for a bit, and now I'm over here, and it's just amazing. It's happening over in Britain, too. There was defections just before the last election. There was really staunch right-wing conservatives who were suddenly joining the Labour Party, because the Labour Party had been brought so far into the centre, so you can't get power over there, so they purge the left and rights of their parties all the time. It's just a mix of elites, I suppose.
Right, and it always looks so contrived. Like when they started calling Corbyn an anti-Semite, or when Tulsi, who used to be a gun grabber, came out and started making gun tuber videos. It was just, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is wonderful. She's changed her mind." And sure, you got a right to change your mind and politically evolve and all that, but it just feels, when it happened, I remember looking at it and just going, you're an independent now. Okay, you know, and all these people start doing political maneuvers. Like, this is around the same time as Russell Brand. Candace Owens sort of like changed her role. A lot of them found God. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, I'm an independent, and I'm sort of alternative media, and I'm sort of, you know, independent thinker media. And then all of a sudden it's like, you know, you're conveniently, you know, in the intellectual dark web of conservatives, and you're just the greatest thing.
Yeah. Did you guys see Eric Weinstein on Piers Morgan?
Ooh.
Did you catch that?
I'll let John
No.
answer this one.
Go ahead.
Well, I guess he took a lot of criticism because he said he was politically homeless. Essentially, he made a post where he said,
Yeah.
"Nothing, my America isn't sort of represented here. I can't get behind any party." Basically, like that. I think a lot of people feel that way, and he took a lot of flack. People were calling him a coward and all this other stuff, and he was sort of, essentially saying, well, there's this dangerous thread in the MAGA movement that is actually a lot of real anti-Semitism going on and a lot of real racism going on. And I was always sort of the thought that, obviously everything's racism, everything, if you say, hey, stop blowing up Palestinian children, you get called an anti-Semite. But as I go on X, there is some actual racism and anti-Semitism afoot. So I don't think, and Eric Weinstein...
He basically accused me of being an anti-Semite the other day.
Eric Weinstein did?
Yeah, we had a backwards and forwards because I wrote an article.
I didn't even know this. So tell me about that. But real quick. Yeah, because I mean, there is that thread going on. Like, there's one thing. It's one thing to say cease fire and stop killing Palestinian children. Like, that doesn't make you an anti-Semite. But then there are people on X that are just sort of going hard to the paint with that. So anyway, what happened with you? I did not know that.
I wrote an article called it was the amazing Polly was having an argument with Brett Weinstein or someone, or shouting at Brett Weinstein, and I was just like in a cheeky mood, and I remembered like I had discovered that Eric Weinstein had worked for the UN at some point, but I hadn't investigated it at the time. Where everything else took over, and it was like I did the Schwab articles and things like that, and went over to Chile and I had a life and etc. And then I kind of like got away from that, and I was like, oh, I wonder if you'd be interested in finding out more about this. And so I went off, and it only took me not long because the article, I used mostly his words, because he had written a UN paper between 2000 and 2002 on the benefits of migration for all about economic migration, how to do it, what effect it would have on the native population, and why it would be beneficial eventually for people. And it was like it's like exposing this is a thing that is obviously he's not hanging around in those circles that accept economic migration as a normal thing, and it was a flagship program for the UN. So when I released it, I knew it was going to cause a little bit of trouble, and he got lots of questions, and eventually he had to do some contrived pretend thing, and he went straight to he was like, maybe this is some sort of Whitney Webb thing, who's my ex. Maybe it's some sort of, I don't know, anti-Semitism or pro-Hamas. He used the term pro-Hamas. And it was just like, it was so contrived and boring. And I came back to him and said, listen, this isn't anti-Semitism. This isn't anything else. This is the fact that you contradicting yourself and you've got this hidden past, which is very interesting to look at compared to what the situation is now. And I was quite polite with him, but I was quite direct, and we had a backwards and forwards, and he basically went through a long sort of contrived how everything is all about anti-Semitism and stuff like this, and didn't respond to what the whole point was, this working for the UN between 2002. He just used anti-Semitism. So for me, I was just like, yeah, that's fine. I know what that is now. Yeah, anti-Semitism for Eric Weinstein is something he uses whenever he's got nothing else. And nowadays, he's exposed himself all over the place. He's done a lot of talking, and some very clever people have also seen him over here, over there, and made some comparisons about how he acts. But I don't know. We'll see. It's a funny old story, though.
Yeah, that's interesting. I had no idea you guys had that exchange. But there is that thread going on. I mean, there is some of that. I have been sort of shocked by some of what I've seen on X. I mean, there is some just outright
unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
unbelievable.
and that part, I'm like, whoa, I'm not on y'all's team either. Like, I'm not on this. I'm not with this. I'm not racism or anti-Semitism legit.
Just full on Nazi, full on redneck Nazi.
Like that type
I mean,
of stuff. Like,
whoa.
I'm like, wow, that stuff actually does exist, and it's like, I mean, it's kind of shocking when you encounter it.
Smells a bit feddy.
There's actually real. There is real people, because I actually interacted with some of them. But there is also a lot of fake disinformation stuff and accounts that is really put there to discredit movements, because that's one of their plays, right? They
true.
Usually, but there is real people that just feel that way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the point he was making on Piers was like, people should be sort of speaking out against that more on that movement. That's why I can't back that movement, essentially.
But you see, I think this is part of that labeling, like if you come and say all of those people are MAGA, so that means that all MAGA are anti-Semite.
Right.
It's muddying the water, because now they're gonna tie that with like actually criticizing Israel. That's what it's gonna lead to, right? Because they are trying to conflate these two things.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that part I disagree with. I think you should be allowed to criticize Israel without getting called an anti-Semite. That's not.
Yeah. It all ignores the main point. The amazing. I mean, it's an apartheid ethno-state genocide going on there, and all of that's exactly what I expect Eric Weinstein to do, is to play the victim himself and play the victim for the nation of Israel, when and in fact we can all see that it's not a fair fight. You know, it's not. Yes, things happened over the past 75 years over and over that makes people angry, but I was talking to Mats Nilsson, who lived down that way, and he said back in the day he knew Palestinians who said, you know, back in the day they would just be living in the same areas as Jews, they would be crossing over paths, there was no walls, there was no stuff like this, you know, all of that stuff came later, and now it's completely unrecognizable, you know, they do not even see each other there. They just have blocked themselves off, and it's turned into something which is esoteric. You know.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let me go to Mark Anderson real quick here. Mark, your thoughts on this?
I've heard much of what's been said. I've been a little distracted driving and getting out of the truck. The last thought I had where I was going to comment was you were talking about Elon. And I know I'm backing up in the conversation a bit, all these government contracts, and yet he's sort of the free speech patriot, right? What gives?
Yeah.
And I mean, it could be that he's kind of an agent of sorts. You know, just because somebody talks your political language doesn't necessarily mean they're genuine. You know, he's definitely in deep with government contracts, and as you say, rubbing elbows with the deep state, if not kind of a part of it. So I think that those contracts speak louder than his words on Twitter, in my opinion. So I would keep Elon Musk at sort of arm's length. Yeah, you talk a good talk. You sound like you care about what's going on, and maybe you've improved Twitter, which has now become X compared to what it was. But I think it's all reason to kind of be wary, or at least skeptical of him a little bit, and don't go all in with him necessarily thinking he's the, you know, ideal patriot. I think you just have to be careful.
Yeah, man, I agree with that. Can I just use that moment to plug my most recent article, which is Musk and Epstein, the Third Culture Dossier. And the Third Culture Dossier is about Musk working, studying in a course on behavioral economics and how to manipulate psychology of the masses without people knowing, using nudge units, behavioral insight teams, as that's gone on to be, for under Edge, which was funded by Jeffrey Epstein. So was literally went for a Jeffrey Jeffrey Epstein funded course. Really interesting article on NewsPaste. And Elon Musk isn't what he seems. There's a lot of history to Elon Musk. He's an extremely interesting guy, but he seems to have been chosen from a very young age in comparison. And what he did before 1997, that should be the thing that lots of investigators should be interested in, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. I linked that on last week's show page, so you can find that linked up there at alternatecurrentradio.com, or just go to the NewsPaste, and it'll be linked on tonight's show also. Mark, you were going to jump in there.
Oh, there's not much to add. I think I'll sign out. I think we're all, again, just kind of a little bit feeling some trepidation as to what we might see in the morning in terms of the electoral results versus what we're seeing right now. You know, will there be some magical box of ballots that, oops, we hadn't counted that yet? And, you know, one wonders with the 2020 election and the so-called COVID restrictions and cautionary measures, having all these drop boxes suddenly pop up hither and yon, and who has the keys to them, right? Who has the authority to put ballots in? That, you know, maybe has the keys and could dump extra ballots in, or therefore that same person, whoever has the keys, you know, would be able to remove those ballots, and at that point that they would also be vulnerable. You know, the existing ballots could be dumped and substitute ballots could be put in, and it doesn't look like they've backed down much on that. But I did read where Pennsylvania, about, and I don't know if this is accurate, about half the counties are still using these drop boxes, but technically I think it's supposed to be against the law now to use these drop boxes, because no one is absolutely clear as to who's in charge of them. So it's kind of like Georgia. By law, they're really not supposed to be using the Dominion machines anymore, according to 2 court hearings and the legislature, but they still are. So a lot of what we're seeing is individual counties and voting jurisdictions not obeying the law. And that's not necessarily election fraud per se, but they're not obeying the law. And so there's a lot of unlawfulness going on, and how much that will translate into actual fraud remains to be seen.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. All right, Mark. Well, hey, thanks for being here with us tonight. Ruckus, what do we got there? Read that out for our listeners and for Mark before he jumps out of here. Are your mic working?
I hope so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, this is from Google. This is my app on my Android phone. They say 230 for Trump, 210 for Harris. But what's interesting to me is the popular vote is hugely more in the favor of Trump than anything. That's very noticeable to me. So
yeah, I think that's a good thing. I think that can tamper or damp some of the narrative that they might use to create chaos. That's my hope.
Yeah. All right, Mark. Thanks for being here with us tonight, man. Appreciate you. And
thank you, Mark.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for making it possible by phone. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. Glad to have you with us.
Yeah, good show, guys. See you.
All right, good show.
See you
there
later,
goes
Mark
Anderson, the Truth Hound.
Bye.
Yeah.
Cheers, Mark.
Yeah, that was great. So I don't know. Is it happening, you guys? Is it? Are we? Can we say we're in a Trump presidency almost here? Presumptive?
No,
not yet.
Listen, guys.
No?
Listen.
Too soon?
Listen.
All right.
Listen, guys. I did this whole series recently, and then I was like doing this, like, I can make predictions about the election based on what the mainstream media is talking about. And listen, I tuned in. That's all I've been listening today is nothing but the mainstream media. I've been tuning in to like CBS, then ABC, then NBC, then Fox News.
Oh boy.
And they have all been saying the same thing, that it might be a very close election, which I interpret as, so you're telling us it's going to be. So we're going to go to bed tonight, and for the next few days, the next few weeks, possibly even the next few months, we're going to hear about how it's an incredibly close election, and how it's contested. There's going to be a lot of legal battles, and it's just not going to be. We're not going to know the answer to this riddle for quite a long time, people. Straight up, just so you know.
All right.
We have to stay up
I'm
all
having
that time.
hopes. I'm having hopes. I'm not going to sleep until it's done. I'll let you guys know.
Infidel's
I'm
on
gonna
a
go to sleep.
I'm on
gonna
it.
go to sleep
strike.
soon.
I'm on it.
I think I'm gonna bail on you guys because it's I'm a dad of a small child, so I get up super early.
You gotta recollect that energy at night because it gets demanded first thing in the morning. I'm sure.
Exactly. I'll be up at 5 in the morning, so.
We
And,
appreciate
I'm
you
gonna have
coming
to
by.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, love you, Joseph Arthur,
love
man.
you guys
Love
too.
you.
It was
man.
so fun. It was so fun to see you guys on this auspicious occasion. So
Suspicious.
I'm glad. Yeah, suspicious occasion. That's true. So hopefully, our country isn't burning down tomorrow morning when I wake up. Should be fine, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm really glad you were able to join us, man. And let's do this again real soon. We love having you in the boiler room.
Love you guys.
Yep,
And,
love you too.
God bless you. God bless America. And let's get TNT back to. Let's get the band back together.
Let's
y'all.
get the band back together.
Let's
Yeah,
get the
love
band.
That's right. Shout out to Mike. I know he's working on it. We're standing by, buddy.
All right,
Pow,
guys.
pow, pow, gangster.
Right.
I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right. There
Bye,
goes
Joseph.
Joseph Arthur. Later, buddy. All
Cheers.
right. Well, it's down to just us, fellas. Oh,
Back
no.
to the boys.
briefly, because Burning Beard stuck this in there for us.
Burning Beard.
The speed of a Minuteman 3 is approximately 15,000 miles per hour, Mach 23, or 24,000 kilometers per hour at burnout current
So-
speed. So that sounds pretty
What?
hyper fucking.
Russia to America in 30 minutes? Is that?
Yeah, probably or
That's
less.
faster than me on my skateboard. That's all I know.
Even on the high setting.
I don't believe it.
Even on my high-speed setting, yes. That's pretty
Tony
fast.
Hawk's pro nuclear skater. Or
Here's another tidbit from the chat here. Brennan Beard once again. Georgia Security Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger has said that Trump holds a quote insurmountable lead end quote in Georgia.
Yikes. That's a
So,
big deal.
Yeah.
insurmountable. Sounds like it's
But,
going to be
but
surmounted.
what does the Georgia Secretary of State know? He's probably a super spreader of disinformation. It's not over until AP says it's over or something like that, right?
Yeah, really. You know, the thing that concerns me about that missile thing, now that I've read the post there, is they say this part. The purpose of the ICBM test launch program is to demonstrate the readiness of U.S. nuclear forces and provide confidence in the lethality and effectiveness of the nation's nuclear deterrent. That's according to Air Force Global Strike Command. So, like, it's just a statement. We're just doing it as a statement. Like, yeah, who's the target audience there? Like, are there who's the people that GAF about that? I mean,
It's the Ruskies.
I guess
that's
so.
How do you think?
Yeah.
It's
Russia,
Russian
China,
Hitler.
North Korea, Iran. I'm going with Iran on this one.
Oh, I like Iran. They're pretty funny.
We got a video here about a failed nuclear missile test flopping. Why Minuteman 3 ICBM quote unquote anomaly will haunt Biden amid two wars. So, like, you know, maybe they're trying to save face
Trump
here.
will make Trump will make Minuteman missiles fast again.
Yeah,
There
they'll
you
make
go.
them make them as fast as Russia's hypersonics.
Mm-hmm. How much is
It's very terrible. How
Someone's
China
got to
has
find
missiles
out
faster than us.
how fast the Russian missiles are. Someone's got to find this out. Come on.
Yeah.
Got to know how quickly we're gonna die. I'll die as quickly anyway. No, that doesn't make any sense. I'm closer to Russia, is what I'm thinking, but I can't even work out what that means.
Something about the radioactive blast ratio. There's something there. Oh man.
So, Husher,
Yeah.
What's your plan?
Well,
you go some more.
We're almost at the 3-hour mark here. I'm down to go another 15 minutes or so, but after that, I'm probably going to want to shut it down unless something crazy happens.
My plan is to start digging.
Yeah, we just need to pop the manholes, dude, and go into the storm drains. It'll be fine.
I was gonna say, do you want to just roll an icebreaker just to get it?
It's far too late for an icebreaker.
Oh
dude.
man, you want to do an end of show icebreaker? Am I understanding?
You're tripping.
You,
well, this makes perfect sense, actually.
Everything's inverted, so why not? I mean, have you looked in the channel? Do you have one in mind? Otherwise,
No, I have not.
All right, let me see what's in there. Let's take a look in the.
I thought the elections was the icebreaker.
Yeah,
to
really.
be completely honest.
Okay.
Like, wait a minute. People actually go out and vote thinking that their vote counts? Holy fuck, that's hilarious.
Oh, it's that time of night. My security dog.
Actually, it's funny. I saw a meme today that wins. I'm just going to describe the meme, but it was a Simpsons. It was everyone standing in the doorway watching Homer Simpson at work, and the meme was to the effect of it's the rest of the world watching the United States getting ready to vote, and the people waiting in the doorway are saying, "Get ready, everybody! He's about to do something stupid." As in, like, America is about to do something stupid. Yeah. Anyway, it was a good. It was a good meme. Good meme.
All right. Okay. Infidel, here's what we got in the chamber for icebreakers. We've got who stole 24 tons of cheddar in a cheese heist. We've got Vatican is going to reveal a new idol in 2025. We've got Harvard.
Only if the idol's name is Lucifer.
Yeah, it might be. We've got Harvard Memorial Church to host reading Taylor Swift as a sacred canon. Elon Musk looking to move his children. We did that last week. And then we got Russia fines Google 2.5 decillion for YouTube bans. Any stick out to you there?
Oh man,
I like Taylor Swift.
I think I would go with the Taylor Swift one. I agree with Ruckus. Actually, let's go for that.
Taylor Swift is the Pope
But
one.
that was my story, just so you know. So.
So you're by.
Gregorian chanting of Taylor Swift. Is that what you said?
Oh boy! All right, this was coming via Ruckus here.
It's actually a good one.
Yeah, this is interesting. Harvard Memorial Church to host reading Taylor Swift as a sacred text event. So it's a student program. It's slated to host a reading Taylor Swift as a sacred text. The Tuesday evening event is organized by the Memorial Church Student Program Coordinator and Multi-Faith Engagement Fellow. Well, there's a job for you, liberal arts people. I wonder how many of those are available. What can reading the texts that matter to us as sacred tell us about ourselves and our lives? Gosh, I don't know how to disrespect yourself and break up with everybody you ever meet, perhaps. Discover a new way to engage with the Taylor Swift canon that honors the important emotional and spiritual role her work plays in many people's lives. Oh, spiritual role. Interesting. I wonder what that is. Bring your favorite Taylor Swift song and we'll bring the sacred reading practices. How about that? Oh, wait, this is interesting. Okay, here's the kicker. Quote, we will be using the Lecito Divina, an ancient Christian monastic reading practice, but the insights you gain from this practice will not necessarily be connected to the Christian tradition or religious in nature. Students are invited and encouraged to bring insights and wisdom from their own lives, traditions, and backgrounds.
In Britain, we call that random wank. That's what we'd call it. Definitely random wank.
That is random wank.
It doesn't even make any sense. I don't even know what that means.
So
Reading Taylor Swift like a bunch of cockens. I don't know. I just don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Pardon my language.
You know, when I used to do these news stories for TNT, I noticed very quickly that every day, without fail, there's news stories about one of two people. Okay, and you would think it would be Donald Trump and someone else, but no. Without fail, every single day there is a brand new news story about Elon Musk and Taylor Swift. Prove me wrong. You can look this up. And I find this very fascinating and very strange to me. And not that long ago, Hesher, I'd say like about 6 months ago, I started like this whole, oh, I love Taylor Swift. Just this is a giant joke, people. But like, we talked about this many times on Boiler Room. But what the hell is up with Taylor Swift? Why is there always news about Taylor? And now, like, we're like going to read her lyrics like she's like a sacred religious text. I mean, people worship Taylor Swift the way people worship Elon Musk, and my mind is blown by the idolization of these people, and I don't get it. I just don't get it. Am I too old or something? What's wrong with me? Am I racist? Is there something wrong with me? I don't get it. What am I missing about Taylor Swift and Elon Musk? Why do I not worship these people like they were like my gods? I feel like I'm missing out on something, Hesher.
You're
Help me out.
completely right about Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is just like they're lifted up as like pinnacle humans, the best example of man, the best example of woman, and look, this is what we want to attain, and I honestly, this Taylor Swift is absolutely everywhere. I've managed never to even take in one of her songs into my brain.
Me too.
It's like if she sings, it's just completely silent to me. I don't know. I would not know if someone was singing a Taylor Swift song. I'd just be like, I can't hear you.
On anything, dude.
Yeah, it just everything goes silent for a bit, and I just don't hear Taylor Swift.
I see your mouth moving, but I can't hear the words you're saying.
That's not her mouth.
She cannot dance. She has a pancake ass. She has like size A boobs. Her face is not that good. And her voice is horrible. I have no fucking idea why people even find her attractive or anything.
Or
No
why
reason.
Or why parents would let their little girls listen to music about a woman a billionaire in her 30s who can't hold a relationship.
That's right. It's like bad choices. That's all what her songs are about. Bad choices. Like,
I'm a billionaire. Wah, poor me. I can't figure out how to hold a man. Okay, right on. Cool. And then let's talk about her fake boyfriend for a second here. This Mr. Football guy who got $20 million from that company that starts with a puff sound that made these jabs that everybody loves so much, right?
We can't say that word because it's on YouTube. That's
yeah,
all, people.
We'll leave them to their imagination there. I think they know what I mean, but yeah.
Puff, puff, give.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a perfect example to those like mainstream stars that have no talents, but they just get pushed by either intelligence agencies just for so many there is so many examples of those throughout history, right?
Yeah.
So she's no different.
Can I just like really throw the cat amongst the pigeons here and just suggest that Led Zeppelin would be one of those? They just didn't make any sense.
Okay,
he was just like, you know, up on stage, ultraviolet light, semen stains all over him. He's, I mean, he's amazing voice, amazing guitar, amazing drums. Everything's amazing. Everything's amazing. But some of the lyrics were extremely questionable.
Like the Lemon song for one, perhaps we could go.
Did you ever watch, like, you know, the song remains the same or whatever? Yeah. And it's just like them arguing out the back of a concert hall about who's getting money in from t-shirts. I'm like, petty shit. You're Led fucking Zeppelin and you're arguing about petty shit, man. So I'm gonna just throw the cat amongst the pigeons there.
I was going with Grateful Dead as an example, but
they just, but then you just end up in strange loops, loops in your mind. I love Anthem of is it Anthem of the Sun? Oh, it's just unbelievable. It's like drowning in a ship. I've listened to it on acid on a couple of occasions. It's
buddy. Yep.
It's an amazing album for acid.
Mm-hmm.
So does that holy text has anything to do with the idol that the Catholic Church is trying to release? See if there is any connection there that we can.
Well, let's.
No, but that other one is hilarious to me.
Yeah, that one is pretty good.
It's like it's one of those. What are those things called? Pop Funko, right?
Funko Pop.
Funko Pop figure.
Yes, yeah. You don't like them, do you? You're gonna ban them.
Oh man.
Oh no, the Funko Pop characters are cool with me, I guess. But okay, listen, I used to collect like action figures, well, I mean, I had like, I had various things, but mostly predominantly I had horror movie stuff. So I like, because I was obsessed with horror movies back
Did you
in
get
the
the
day. But I also had
McFarlane
like,
ones?
Me too.
I had, yeah. I
Which
like
which
the
genre?
Todd McFarlane ones. Oh, well, like all horror stuff. So like Todd McFarlane, Hesher just brought up. Like he used to do
favorite?
Spawn.
Oh, right. Okay.
What like? Well, okay. So like the Todd
So
McFarlane
gay
figurines
cinema then.
were excellent. So I had like the Jason figure and the Halloween figure and all of that stuff. The
Oh,
Scream
yeah, I mean,
figures, Pumpkinhead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I had all of this shit, but I was also heavily obsessed with Nightmare Before Christmas, Tim Burton. I had some Star Wars figures, Masters of the Universe figures. I had X-Men figures. I was just into action figures, okay? But as a Christian, I had a very diehard Christian friend who told me that like owning these action figures was owning idols, and I eventually got rid of them. Okay, well, it's true, but
Should
the
have
thing
given
is
them
that
to
like,
me.
right, okay, well, they're all gone. It's okay. It doesn't matter. They're long gone. But the thing is, like there was this idea that just collecting and owning things, and she, my friend, my Christian friend, even believed that owning books and movies that were not Christian oriented were cursed objects. She was very much along those lines. But anyways, I get where she was coming from with the action figures because of the graven image idea, right, and the idols. So I just wanted to bring that up before we talk about this story because the Catholic Church and the Christians and everybody, we understand like there's a great big schism going on here between the Christians, like the Baptist style, like, the Protestant type Christians versus the Catholic Christians, because the Protestants believe that out of the Bible, it says, "Thou shalt not worship graven images," i.e. idols, which is something that the Catholic Church is famous for doing, like with all of their statues and their rosaries and their Marys and everything. So it's very interesting that they're going to go ahead and bring forth a new saint, and in the form of it being like one of these Funko Pop characters, which is like an action figure. It's crazy. But anyways, I just
Saint
Wobblehead. Go ahead.
Saint Wobblehead of Woobly.
Basically.
So
there's actually a place called Webley in the UK. So Wobblehead of Wibbly would be good.
Right. So the Catholic TV puts out, the Vatican has unveiled the official mascot of the Holy Year 2025, Luce, Luce, Italian for light. Archbishop Ficielia says the mascot was inspired by the church's desire to live even within pop culture, so beloved by our youth. And there you can see it. There's the little bringer of light idol there, a little Funko Pop style anime looking thingy.
That's for S and Lucifer, everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And then @ _EVFM reposted it and said, EV, I'm from the future. Listen carefully. The Vatican is going to reveal a new idol in 2025, which is numerologically significant, and it will be a lolly in a raincoat named Lucifer.
And it'll be 69.
Dude, what's the actual F? Like, seriously?
What?
Like, what is going on? Like, there is no wonder
like
our people are
trolling
going
us,
to orthodoxy. Actually, this is just the Catholic Church is just being insane right now.
Yeah, dude, this is crazy. Breaking ice at the end of the show. May as well play the sound at the end of the icebreaker, I suppose. And
all right, we're going reverse with everything, so that's all right.
Yeah, since reality's inverted, so is your boiler room tonight.
I'm changing my name to Quietude.
All right, you guys, let's wrap this up. And if the world sets ablaze in the middle of the night, call me infidel. I'll roll out of bed and start the stream up. All right.
I will do that. I'll let you guys know.
All right. Thanks for taking the night watch. We appreciate you being on Overwatch while we get some rest.
Yeah.
All right, man. Yeah. Any save rounds? Final thoughts? Anything you want to throw out there for the boiler room, Infidel Pharaoh?
I had a funny clip that I watched. I don't know if you want to play it or not.
Let's see which one.
I will totally up to you here.
Where's it at? I'll play it.
It's a skit that I saw, but it was pretty hilarious.
All right, let's. We could use a couple laughs on the way out here. Oh, I know. I recognize.
I see Johnny's kitty cat. That's cute.
Yeah,
she's been biting me.
We've had a couple of pet appearances tonight. Ripley's down here about to start yelling at me and take over the microphone. But here we go. I suppose I should share that, huh? Be better if everybody could see it. Thanks, Ripley, for telling me I forgot to hit the share button.
Our proud nation will measure weights in pounds, and that 2,000 pounds shall be called a ton.
What would 1,000 pounds be called, sir?
Nothing. Because we will have no word for that.
Seems like we should have a word for 1,000 pounds, sir.
And yet we won't. Because we are free men. And we will be free to measure liquids in liters and milliliters. But not all liquids, only soda, wine, and alcohol.
Only those, sir.
Yes. Because for milk and paint, we will use gallons, pints, and quarts, God willing.
And how many liters are in a gallon, sir?
Nobody knows.
And, sir, in this new country, what plans are there for men of color, such as I?
Distance will be measured in inches, feet, yard, and mile. So 12 inches to a foot?
12 feet to a yard.
If it were only so simple. 3 feet to a yard.
And how many yards to a mile?
Nobody knows.
Okay, well, how many feet to a mile?
5,280, of course. It's a simple number that everyone will remember.
To confess, it feels a little complicated, sir. Why not use meters and kilometers?
We will, soldier. But only in certain unpopular sports like track and swimming. For popular sports like football, we will use yards.
Football, sir?
Yes. It's a sport where you throw a ball with your hands.
So in football, there is no kicking?
There's a little kicking. You kick the ball to get points.
How many points, sir?
Sometimes 1 and sometimes 3.
Very confused, sir.
Do not worry. For our new nation, we will have rulers with 2 sets of numbers. Inches on one side, centimeters on the other.
So we can see where they line up.
Yes, except that they don't line up and they never will.
Why?
Liberty, son, liberty.
And the slaves, sir, what of them?
You asked about the temperature.
I did not.
We should have 2 different unrelated scales of temperature. One of them will make sense to the entire world, and the other will be super random. Our great nation will use the random one.
What is the scale called, sir?
Fahrenheit.
Spell that for me.
Impossible. But one day, if we are brave, we will get rid of the U and a lot of British words like color and armor. But by God, we will keep the British U and the word glamour.
Only glamour, sir?
Only glamour. That is my dream for our countrymen. A melting pot of different measurements that will make Europeans throw little tantrums. In short, a land of liberty.
Where all men are free. Where all men are free, right?
All right. I thought that was a funny skit.
Oh goddamn! I'm proud to be an American.
It's a good one to play election night, so that's why I thought.
Yeah, that's good, man. Saturday Night Live has had a couple of funny skits in the last 3 episodes, I will say.
That was excellent.
Yeah. All right.
Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
being here, man.
Thanks.
All right, we'll see you next time. There goes Infidel Pharaoh. Johnny, thanks so much for being here tonight, man. Over to you for any save rounds or final thoughts.
Yeah, man, it's been nice. It's been nice chilling around with you guys. Some surprises. I wasn't expecting to see Joseph Arthur around, and oh my lord, Dr. Clown. I liked him. He was all right. He was an all right one, wasn't he? Yeah, no, really, really awesome night. I reckon. It's still going to be. I think you're right, Ruckus. I think it might take a long time to sort out what's really gone on tonight. But I know. Yeah, even though I write loads of depressing articles that seem to point to world being all depressing and controlled, we should have some form of hope that we can actually do something at some point, or something changes at some point. So I hope that happens, man. It's a big night. It's American election, and I can feel everybody's positive. And I hope that everybody continues being positive, no matter what comes. But there's loads to come. So thanks for having me. Love you.
Love you too, Johnny. Thanks for being here, buddy. We'll see you next time. There goes Johnny
Thank you,
Vedmore. Go to
Johnny.
Newspaste for sure. And I'll put the link up to his latest on the show page tonight. Ruckus, over to you for saved rounds or final thoughts.
Man, I really hate the powers that be sometimes, Hesher. I mean, you and I were born into a world where our vote was supposed to count. I was born in 1976. That was the bicentennial of this country. I mean, there was a lot of pride going on in the year that I was born, and I like to consider myself a patriot. When I met you, you and I both considered ourselves to be patriots. We like to probably label ourselves as conservatives. I guess that would traditionally mean we would have been voting Republican, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, you and I have both not voted this year. If I'm not mistaken, we probably didn't vote the previous year, nor probably the year before that. But so what happened? Somebody somewhere along the line, since our country was created, has fucked everything up for us, and that really, really pisses me off. I don't know who that is that did that. It's certainly not Donald Trump. It's not Kamala Harris. So I just feel like I was screwed out of something. I was born into a world and in a country where I was promised some things, i.e. that my vote would fucking count. But like, as a full-grown adult now, going on, God, geez, I'm getting closer to 50 as we speak. It doesn't matter how old I am, but the thing is, like, my middle name is Jefferson, and Thomas Jefferson, of course, was who I was named after as far as my middle name is concerned. So I would like to share a quote from Thomas Jefferson to finish off this evening. So it is what it is. I didn't vote. I'm not going to vote, probably not this time or the next time, and that pisses me off that was taken away from me for whatever reason. But according to Thomas Jefferson way back in the day, quote, "We do not have government by the majority. We have government by the majority who participate." So I sure hope to God that it wasn't that fact that I didn't vote that causes us to whatever happens next. Anyways, thanks for having me, Hesher. May God bless each and every one of you, and may God save this republic. Ruckus out.
All right. Thanks, Ruckus. And go to alternatecurrentradio.com for the latest from Ruckus, the Daily Ruckus series. There's 4 episodes of Disinfo Wars up there. You can find that on our Rumble, or most simply just go to our website. So thank you for hanging with us for this epic election 2024 episode of Boiler Room. And via creative accidents here, I will channel Randy Cruz from X and say, since it's election day, never forget when D's nuts got 9% of the vote in North Carolina in 2016. All right. So never forget.
North Carolina shows Donald Trump leading Hillary Clinton in a possible presidential matchup, but that's not the part that's grabbing people's attention today. It is the third-party candidate on that poll, candidate named D's Nuts. Oh, no. Really? A candidate registered as an independent from Iowa has the legal name of D's Nuts. No. Public policy polling showed him pulling 9% of the vote in North Carolina. North Carolina shows Donald Trump.
All right. Never forget D's Nuts. Boiler Room out. We'll see you next time. Stay safe. Peace out.
That's it. Go ahead and run. Run home and cry to mama.